Okay, so there we have it. So this is episode 59.
It'll be in a minute.
Holy shit, we've already done 59 of these, and that's just
I know,
the main
right? Who the
podcast.
fuck keeps listening to us rant?
Well, apparently I look at last night I decided, I'm going to look at the view count, see how many views we've had for the first time in a year.
And see all two of them?
Well, some videos have at least 3 views, and that's like each one. So someone's listening.
Someone.
Should we be concerned? Oh, there's Koyos. Okay.
Probably.
Well, I mean, who else would it have been?
Santa?
Santa Matitiahu. Not to be confused
That
with Santa
too.
Claus. Alright. So, we good to go?
Yes?
Cool. Alright, well, for anyone that is listening, 1 viewer. Probably a bot. Welcome to episode 59 of Cast and Shadows. First topic, obviously, Star Citizen. You guys see Inside Star Citizen this week? Or last week, whatever it was?
Yes. No, this week isn't out yet.
They showcased the whole A.
Which honestly looks pretty good, bearing in mind that it's meant to be just a dedicated cargo ship, no frills, no other real use case except just cargo point A to point B, go.
Yeah.
But for what it is, it looks good.
Honestly, I know a lot of people love that we're finally getting the whole series in general.
No, yeah. I mean, well, especially when you get down to like the whole E and you have thousands of SU of cargo.
Yeah.
You know, it's every wannabe
Space chopper.
cargo empire, lording my wealth over everyone. That's where you're gonna go.
I know, like I think
I
the
noticed.
whole. What was that?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say the whole C. I think is the first one that can't land when fully laden.
Was it the C or the D? I
think
thought
it's
the
a
C
C
could.
because the C has, if it has a T, a plus sign strut configuration for cargo, for
it's
the
a
cargo,
C.
then it's not gonna be able to land.
But the whole A has a plus sign.
The E does as well, yeah. The E and the C.
In the C, the A doesn't. The A's just on the sides.
I could have sworn in the animation
Like
that
a
we were
horizontal.
seeing
I have it
was
on the
plus.
screen right now. And you got all of them there. The A and B can land, and then the C and up can't. Yeah, that's a C right there.
Big thing I noticed was that U
And that's the E.
is a lot better.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
I was surprised at how streamlined and clean the cockpit was when compared to other MISC, like the Freelancer.
That's what I don't get. Like the freelancer, you're going to be bopping around everywhere in, right? But you sit like really far back from the screen. But this thing is just going to be all on cargo, like point A to point B, and it seems
Great
like
view.
you're really close up.
I mean, what it might mean, and I honestly wouldn't be too surprised if this was the case, is that once the freelancer comes up again for a gold pass, that they go and they're like, all right, let's go and change up the cockpit
Yeah.
a bit here, learning from those mistakes. But the question would be when that would be. Because, I mean, honestly, people have been bitching about the freelancer view since the thing came out, and rightly so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because remember
Yeah.
the Freelancer we have now is not what it used to be. Way back when it was just the hangar module.
But about the which ones can land, I think I wouldn't be surprised to see them also have some physics involved, in the sense like if you're trying to bring in a ship that's got all these cargo containers sticking off of it and you go into an atmosphere, you're probably going to have some problems already, not just trying to land.
Oh yeah, I mean look at the Reclaimer, right?
When I think we've already seen in-game code, at least a while back, if not in addition to recently, I want to say we were starting to see stuff that was essentially showing environmental hazards, to where, hey, you're just trying to fly around like a regular constellation, for example, like we saw in the old video years back, of where, hey, you can't really fly in this storm or these weather conditions. Your controls, because among other things, with the drunk locomotion controls, as amusing as it is, if you adjust that a little bit for your use case, hey, if you're in the middle of a storm, your ship's going all kinds of crazy from all of the winds and stuff blowing you about. If there's lightning hitting your ship, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
You can use that same kind of stuff.
Yeah, that was what, Lear that they showed?
I believe yes, because that was where the sandworm was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that totally makes sense. I agree. And to me, you'd be an idiot to take a D or an E and try and go into an atmosphere with that. To
You heard
me,
it here,
those
folks.
things are meant to go station to station.
You heard it here first, folks. Callsign will call you an idiot if you do this.
Of course, at the same time, that guarantees you're going to have people, putting their video up on, their stream up on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
fully loaded. Can we do it? And just watching them
And
fucking
then you just
crash
watch it
nose
sink.
first.
It's
it'll
like
make for a
watching-
good
you know
show.
what?
You'll just see like this, you'll see cargo containers just peeling off one at a time, big fiery tracers.
That's what I'm gonna. enjoy.
You've heard of stream sniping. Now hear about stream salvaging.
That's what I'm gonna enjoy about even like a fully laden reclaimer trying to land. It's just gonna drop like a giant rock. Landing
Well, I
on a
mean, to be
water
fair,
rock.
the reclaimer does seem to be meant to land on planetary surface, at least under normal gravity, one would assume. Now, it's still going to be a cumbersome bitch. Like, I would never want to go and be flying a reclaimer out of Orison or something like that.
I don't know. Flying
but-
out of Orison might be. No, that's gonna be just as annoying.
Yeah, it's going to be horrible.
Lorville. Because Lorville is twice that of Earth's gravity, so it's 2.0. And
I'm perfectly okay with a ship being difficult and taking a long time. That totally makes sense to me. But as well, I think there should be some ships that just you shouldn't
right,
should,
like just no
what
further
do you call it?
atmosphere.
The trying to take a Bengal down.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
think
yeah.
you. I
Well,
think
there's
that
a
should be
colony.
prohibitive.
At least in the lore and on the star map, there's a colony that's a sunken Bengal, for lack of a better term, right? Because the Bengal went into the gravity well, got pulled down. And
One thing that I think would be at least initially, until more systems are in place, more supporting systems are in place for this kind of thing, would be that for some ships, like say a Bengal, a Javelin, shit like that, that are not meant to be atmosphere, in atmosphere, in these gravity wells, that if you are, at least again, just initially, make it so that you cannot go up in altitude. Like your thrusters are barely enough, when you're leveled out, barely enough to hold you steady. You aren't sinking, or if you are, it's slow enough that you aren't going to go and crush your ship, but you can't get out without assistance from like an SRV or something like that. Like that, you would have to have additional assistance. And those would obviously have to wait until some of those vehicles and mechanics are in game. But I think that would be at least a initially decent balancing way.
Or what about this idea?
No, I
Why not have some kind of issue with shields when you start getting beyond a certain size of shield, and you get and the shields are having to interact with the atmosphere, it starts causing problems. So in other words, beyond a certain size ship, you can go down there, but you're not going to have your shields, which makes you more vulnerable.
Or they're weaker than they would normally be. It's like, oh, hey, your shields normally are at 100%, but in normal atmospheric conditions, you're at 50. In really bad weather conditions, you got like some kind of a crazy lightning storm kind of thing going on, you're at like 25. So it's like, okay, they're still there. However,
not as prominent and not as
if you
strong as they
encounter
would
other
normally.
people, they may
You're at
have an
risk.
incentive to take you down.
Yeah, no, honestly, I like that idea because it's like, you can do it. If you so choose, you can do it. However,
Plus, it
you are at
plays
additional danger.
into it plays further into the whole think before you act gameplay mechanic versus.
Yeah. I think that's a really good idea.
We'll see.
And then also too, maybe you would be able to be like, hey, I'm going, I've got my Idris here, and I want to go and buy some different shield generators on there. One, those are going to be prohibitively expensive just by the nature of size 10 shield generators or whatever the hell it is. Maybe you can buy certain types of shield generators that can filter out atmospheric issues better, but at the cost of less shield capacity. So, if you're constantly running ground operations, sure, you can go and plan ahead for that, but that means that your shields aren't going to be as strong as a military-ready Idris that's just flying in space.
Yeah, I could totally see that. But man, the cost on that, yeah, you're right.
I shudder thinking of it.
You're basically buying a whole nother ship.
It'd be millions. Because also too, it's like, let's even just say, so it's let's say it's a size 10 shield generator that the Idris has, which already is going to be like what, the size of a Pisces at least, if not bigger. And how many of those does it have? 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 10, I don't know. A lot.
So that leads me down a path that I've been wondering about for a long time, which was how big are they going to go versus, in other words, like instead of just having like 1 or 2 for these big ships,
they just have more and more smaller.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm wondering if they'll which way they're going to go with that. Because you think about it, like trying to swap out, because they're saying that you're going to need to swap out components due to age and wear and stuff.
Yeah.
What happens when you own an Idris and, hey, yeah, it's you've kept it alive, but you've been through 10 battles and now you need to replace that generator. Like, how are they going to do that? How big is that item going to be? How hard is it to find one?
I mean, there might be 2 ways they could go about it. One might be because, for example, if we were to take the Carrack, for example, because that's a relatively recent ship, came out, 2 years ago, something like that? They had their metrics all set up and all that kind of stuff. If you were to look at like the power generator on the back of it in the engine room, that is not going to fit through any of the doors there. It cannot. So unless there's
requires
some
disassembly.
One option might be, hey, maybe these components can be later on disassembled into parts that'll fit through an average door, and it's just, that one.
No, I mean you got to disassemble the ship, like put a hole in it. That's where you need your salvage repair people to put a hole in it so you can make pull the part out, put a new one in, and then repair the ship back.
I thought they were saying they weren't going to let us freeform, like cut into ships like that, because that was going into like the whole like boarding aspect, and I thought they were saying that at least last time they talked about it, which was years ago, you could have changed, but they were saying that at least then they were only planning that. And already made entry points are the only way you're going to be going in or out. So things like turret mounts, doors, hangars, that kind of stuff. Yep. Now, that could change. That could definitely change in the future. But the other thought would be if we are going to be able to swap these things out, at least on larger ships, they would either have to be disassembled into smaller parts to fit through these kinds of doorways, or B, would have to be done only in a repair shop, and essentially it's hand wavy them.
Yeah, that's probably what they'll do.
Yeah,
But-
I mean, I could see him going either way, but
Now, 100% it's going to be hand wavium.
probably
It's just too much of
realistically,
a technical
probably.
problem trying to do it the other way.
Have you seen Star Citizen?
I was gonna make a joke like
Just
The
kidding.
man
hand
has a
wavium
point.
is a Star Citizen element.
No, I agree that it'll probably be hand wavium. I think when you get into those kind of size ships, I think a lot of it's gonna be like, yeah, you need to park it in this dry dock and come back 2 weeks and we'll have it
Yeah.
ready for you. And
Yes.
it's just gonna kind of be like, oh, hey, here's a new ship, with the old
Yeah.
names penciled on it.
That would be the easiest method, but as he said, this is
Yeah.
Star Citizen. You never know when they're going
Chris
to go
Robert?
full balls to the wall.
Yeah, like that's the thing is they could easily do that, and then yeah, it Star Citizen they can go. Oh, they know they can go where you're actually going to see it get prepared in real time, and mind's blown.
I
At the
mean,
moment,
like I
at the
said,
moment, I'm leaving.
this is Star Citizen.
I would not
I-
be surprised at all if they use like a real-time metric for how long it's going to take for it to get repaired. But I
Oh,
don't
that could
expect
Yeah.
be.
us to see things happening like physicalized.
This is one of those items where this is just me.
Mhm.
I think it'd be cool to actually have the full realistic, model. But at the same time, this is one of those items where I would want the PU completely officially launched. Then let's get a team to go back and start working on like, how can we actually do this? So
Yeah,
hand
no,
waving
absolutely.
it for now. Get us the game functioning and out there, but 3-4 years down the road, they go, oh, hey, we're slipping a patch in and here's what we changed. And one of those items is now you can actually, go through a full disassembly of the side of your ship to get that part out, and it'll take XYZ amount of time and resources to do that.
So in
Yeah,
other words,
no,
end
absolutely.
goal is that full detail, whatever. But in the meantime, just do it in phases. First, it's the hand wavy.
Yeah.
It's prepared. That's it. Like, and then deal it out over time. This way, you can get essentially they can get it
Yeah.
in without having to wait 5 extra years
Yeah,
just for this one feature.
Everyone
Well-
gets to play, and then they figure the stuff out in the background. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say they could. I imagine they could probably also do a system that's more focused, like mainly focused on maintaining ship parts, and then have like replacing it is kind of discouraged, I guess.
Well, replacing it would be like a full overhaul.
Yeah, it
You
would
have
be
to go
like
through a shipyard.
exactly.
But I agree with you. Like
So
the
I
idea
think
of having to repair the components, that's definitely going to be a thing.
yeah, I
Oh,
think that'll be more like important than say having to go replace
think
everything.
of it
Right?
with a real world example, right? Like a catalytic converter in your car. You want rather ideally, yeah, you that's an important piece of your car, and you don't want it to get stolen. But say it does get stolen, you have to replace it, but that replacement's not going to be as good as the original. Unless
And
you
also-
like, there's going to be that sort of factor in too. I imagine.
Also, if you're trying to make a comparison to replacing big parts in a big ship, you can't look at like a car. You have to look
Mhm.
like an aircraft carrier or something that
True.
size. They don't cut a hole in the hull and replace the part. They take the
No,
part
I'm talking more about
apart.
component. I'm talking about component
and-
parts wise.
Yeah, but I think the more realistic way to look at this would be like you build the component inside the ship, so you bring it in piecemeal. It wouldn't be putting a hole inside
Yeah, it
the ship and
wouldn't
then
be
pulling it
like-
out and put it back in. It'd be bringing
Yeah,
in
it wouldn't
smaller
be- yeah.
pieces and
obviously,
assembling
obviously.
the
It wouldn't be
components
like
on the inside.
dropping the engine in; it would be doing it piece by piece.
Yeah.
Well, and one
Yes
option
and no.
too.
Yes
Well, it
and
depends
no
on the size of the
for,
ship
for
and
what
how
Data
they do it,
Machine
actually.
said, because there are certain components that they do, like the reactors.
But they actually
and-
do
and a
go and just cut a
aircraft
hole
carrier.
straight through. Yeah,
Yeah, like they'll
it does depend on the
actually-
component.
It
But
depends on the
Yeah,
component,
absolutely.
one
depends on the ship,
possible
it depends on
option, again,
too many
at
factors.
least initially, one possible option might be certain ship sizes and below. So things like, for example, Constellation and below in size. you can actually fully pull the components out. You've got like a tractor beam or some star-studded equivalent of a dolly kind of shit, and you actually go, because at that size the components will all fit through the doors, let's say. But then above that, you can take out subcomponents, and because subcomponents will be a thing. But for the actual components, if those need work outside of the subcomponents, you might have to just go to an actual repair facility, because also too, these aren't going to be getting broken every single fight here. If these are getting broken, you've already been out and about for a while, you're going to be wanting to return to some kind of a well-established port, all ready to go and refuel, resupply, and repair the stuff that you can't go and hand repair. So perfect time to do that, and I could definitely see them doing some kind of a cutoff of where, hey, look, if you've got an 890 jump, you aren't pulling these components out and wheeling them through the hallways here. Come on,
Well, another
you're
thing they
taking
could
it.
do. Sorry. Another thing they could do, it's kind of like what we've seen with the smaller ships, is like the Gladius, is they might go back and restructure the exteriors for like, oh yeah, no, there's a hatch here. That's where you pull out these bigger pieces.
Yeah, they could.
From external. Also,
that would make them more damageable, but maybe they want that.
Could be. Just as a side note, is everyone aware that in the monthly reports now, the last 2 months, they've actually talked about salvage and repair?
Yeah.
Like, it's coming. We're gonna get it.
Supposedly, with salvage comes repairs coming with it.
Yeah, and from what it sounds like, from what I've seen of several different people reviewing it, is it sounds like they're gonna do a base version, which is basically gonna be, your little repair hand tool is essentially gonna be like, forward switch on is strip everything off. Reverse switch is put that same stuff right back on. Like, that's going to be the mechanic.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. That's pretty much what I expected as a low tier.
Yeah.
I remember first implementation.
I'm all for it, as long as we get the mechanic, right?
Yeah. Finally, salvage the black sheep of gameplay mechanics that keeps getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back for how many years
let me
now?
reassure you all.
2015?
Oh, it's been before
16?
that even.
Before that. When was that initial roadmap made?
Let me reassure you guys, though, I have both a Vulture and a Vulcan. We're covered.
Yep.
And I've got an SRV.
That means we've got 2 Vultures and 2 Vulcans and an SRV now.
And that's just of the 5 of us. Our org has more. And remember, we have Chris as a member.
True.
To be honest, between the different versions, I am actually more interested in the Vulture, just because of the idea of that kind of what do they call that?
Full stripping?
No, but when the oil back in like the early 1900s, when the oil industry was taken off in like places like Texas, and they would just go out like for weeks or months at a time and go find it, like stake claims in different areas. Yeah, they had a name for them. I keep wanting to call them bobcatters, but I know that's not it. But anyways, to me that's what the Vulture would be cool. It's just kind of like going off in an asteroid field and finding wrecks,
Yeah, absolutely. Because again, this is an established universe, so there should be wrecks all. I mean, let alone the ones we've got the go get the black box, go recover the corpses kind of missions. You got wrecks already there.
Yep, exactly. Plus, I can start. Maybe I can go and air quotes salvage those radio antennas that keep playing the Benny Henge music.
Good luck.
They're indestructible. They're made of hand wavium, man.
Yep. But yeah. No, I'm looking forward to the Vulture.
They will play that music till the end of the universe.
the universe ends. You're like, finally, I can rest, and then
Dude,
there's just
Chinese
darkness,
heroes.
and in the
That's weird
darkness
music.
you hear. Doot, 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 doot.
Hear the music in the background. But it's not just it's playing; it's getting louder and louder as you start to realize.
But yeah, I
Big
think
Benny's is the universe.
the Vulcan, I mean, it's cool. I like what it's going to be able to do, but to me, it's much more of a kind of like go point A to point B, help somebody out, and then move along. Less of that kind of on your own adventure type stuff. So, but anywho,
Alright, well, back to the Hull A. So the Hull A is being obviously the first of the pulsars being released, targeted towards players new to cargo hauling. So it's supposed to be like a cargo hauling starter ship. Internal styling is consistent, albeit more streamlined, to version of the MISC design language. As we already talked about, it consists of 3 rooms. You got the bridge, cockpit area. You got the hybrid airlock / component room, and then you have the living quarters. Well, it's a small ship. So
you're saying
question.
When I want to ambush the crew, I throw 1 grenade into that airlock, and it takes
Pretty
out
much.
everything. The ship, the crew, gone.
What's the size comparison cargo wise from the Raft and the Hull A?
a good question.
I think Hull A has more. I want to say the Hull A
I
had
think it's
something
more
like
because of
40
the
hits.
It looks like the Hull A has
they're
much
both-
more.
Yeah.
I want to say the Hull A had something like 40 sits or something. Like it was rivaling.
Oh, okay.
To the website.
Okay. I thought those little extender arms was like you got like 1 box on each side.
No, I think it should be
the-
at least like 4. If
The
not
main
more.
difference between the raft and the Hull A is that the raft has the arm to take the shipping containers. Like you can do it manually, whereas the Hull has to actually land, and it's a whole thing where you land and then they do it for you.
You mean it's a whole thing?
Yep.
Ah.
Oh, it's a hull of a ship. The living area has a bed, kitchen, and bathroom, so it's more than the freelancer has.
More on the Cutlass.
No, the Cutlass doesn't have a bathroom or a kitchen.
Or a Shoilet.
The Hull A is also being released before the cargo refactor, so that's unfortunate, but it is.
I mean, we're getting it 3.17. We're getting this patch X version, correct? Okay, because the cargo refactor I thought was coming 3.18 alongside the salvage.
Don't know.
I'm checking.
Checking, please hold.
Cargo system refactor is 318. You're an idiot, it's not
Alright.
a long wait.
Unless it gets delayed, which is possible.
Which it will.
Ugh.
We're talking about Star Citizen, right?
Ugh. Don't remind me.
So we also got the sprint report last week. So Hurston's here, let me put that on the screen. The clouds. Hurston has clouds now.
Well, they're working on it,
Yeah.
prototyping it.
Hey, can we call those clouds, or is it just smog?
I mean,
They definitely look like clouds, more like thunderheads.
also Joseph Reimer in the chat saying, I sense the darkness has arrived with dark matter. The clouds, and they look nice. Like Star Citizen's really got clouds down in pat.
Well, and honestly, like it took them a while. There was a lot of doubt, but they've done some good shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Now, I
around,
do wish though that flying in the clouds looked a bit better, but
Yeah, I think the problem is that when you're flying in the cloud, you kind of get and this is just a graphical glitch that will probably be fixed once they start prioritizing your GPU and CPU. But you kind of see where the planet surface is.
yeah,
what I'm talking about?
I don't know what that term is. Yeah, but like what they showed off in last year's CitizenCon was perfect.
Yeah. That was, but that I also think some of it comes down to, what your computer is doing. And, so I think that everyone's experience is going to be a slightly different, but the long term, what we're going to get is still, I'm amazed.
hell, I mean, just look at the progress from just the last 2 years, or 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Also, we're getting Laurelville's hospital is coming in 317. Definitely looks not as
No,
looks
I don't want it.
but
Well, the hospital is fine. What I don't want is the delinking now of stations and
Yeah.
planetary inventories. That's
I
gonna
mean,
suck.
we all knew it was coming, but
well,
yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
with
I
you.
remember,
know,
It's
but,
physicalized inventory, Cam. Physicalized. Right now we have semi-physicalized. They
We
want
have
full.
localized.
They're
Still
also
a pain.
doing Pyro's background space visuals, like the nebulous clouds and everything going on there.
What a
To try to
nebulous
give you that
idea.
feeling of this is not a nice place to be. But it
Back
looks
to
nice.
the hospital that you were showing. To
Sure.
me, that does not give me Hurston vibes at all. There's something about the design and the coloration that they're using that just, to me, that hospital doesn't fit the Hurston
Doesn't look
like motif.
corpo let the people die in the streets enough.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, maybe we'll add
little.
some more blood splatter.
I think it's too nice.
Yeah, that's
Like I said,
kind of
we'll
where
have
I'm
some
going
blood
with it.
splatter.
You know what it looks like? It looks like this is what the hospital would look like in the district, the business district building in the Hurston Dynamics
Yeah,
building.
that's the house where the business guys go. If you
Yes.
want if you want like services for the actual person, you get a Grimhex like place.
Right, like a slums.
Yeah.
Honestly, that would be funny if they were to add like down the road they add
I
in like
hope
a
so.
clinic or something that's essentially just like a Grimhex kind of thing.
I
would
hope
be
so
good.
because like that's the thing. Like I look at this place just out of context, right? Like what this hospital, and it looks. Hey, this looks like the hospital inside the Hurston Dynamics building, which is a building large enough to you can see it from orbit. It is the size of some small cities. It makes sense that it would have a
Yeah.
hospital in it.
Have you guys heard
Or at
that Astropub is trying to create another like game event? You're all familiar with Operation Pitchfork, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
But for those who are
So-
that may be watching and aren't, Operation Pitchfork is pretty much everyone getting
Okay.
together to
Good
fight
point.
the
So the
Yeah,
long story short,
on game launch, they want to challenge the Van Duel. Just all live players go fight the
versus-
Van Duel on day one.
Yes. So for a little more background for anyone who might not know, so the Van Duel are essentially space orcs. They are at the boundaries of human space and encroaching further and raising human-held planets and cities and slaughtering people and pushing our borders in. Operation Pitchfork is this player idea of the players pushing back against the Vandal incursion and pushing them away from human held space.
And to add to it, when the idea started floating, CIG was like, "Yeah, absolutely, let's do that.
Yeah.
We want to see you guys do it." Like,
And
so
and that it
it's-
would then become history.
Yeah. So what Astropub is trying to do is he wants to do the same thing, only he wants the players to take over Hurston.
I don't know how you're going to do that, but okay.
So
No,
what you're saying
physically
is they're
go in
gonna
and kill
overthrow
all
a
the guards
corporation.
is what he wants to do. Like,
I mean,
all the players go kill all the NPCs.
we can't
guards.
shoot in armistice zones yet.
Yet.
Not yet,
Yeah.
but eventually.
Fair enough.
Yep.
So in other words, he wants
No.
us to just kill, essentially take over Hurston Dynamics, or just obliterate it
Yeah.
entirely.
Look, just
I'm
a couple
not
of
against
A2s and we're
this.
good.
I'm
He
not
wants an
against this.
insurrection against Hurston
Yeah.
Dynamics, basically.
Again, I'm not against this.
No, it
Who
and it
is?
works for the game lore. Like, they're a messed up place. They're
for
doing
anyone
bad
who
business.
doesn't know the lore, Hurston Dynamics, well, they make weapons for the military, but also they have somehow circumvented law to have slaves. They essentially have slaves.
As much as the phrase gets been about when people say wage slaves, this
They are
would be the
literal
literal
wage slaves.
definition.
Indentured servitude. But anyways,
Also-
just a FYI for anyone who's interested, go check out Astropub. he keeps bringing it up in his streams. Like
And
he
he does
wants to
great
do
lore
it.
stuff.
He's trying to recruit.
Also, this is the Van Duel for anyone that doesn't know. Big aliens. Also in the sprint report, they had the derelict structures are being added to the pyro station. Points of interest. That props team is bringing the outlaw stations to life. The Montreal team is working on pyro medical clinics. Progress on the colonial outpost structures and props such as the liquid storage tanks, light fixtures, water wells, garden modules. Derelict outposts are in white box of those colonial outposts. And those colonial outposts are going to be, hopefully we have like missions and just kind of like RPG elements there, you know, talk to NPC. Kind of just make the world a bit more alive and less empty. Because like they've done a pretty good job at making the cities feel like busy, but they don't feel living. Like they're busy, they're alive, but they're not living in the sense that you can interact with everything. And there's not much to do.
I'm with you.
Like, you know, give us more mission givers, just NPCs, like literal like RPG style mechanics and characters here. And I think that
you have to remember that, I mean, eventually all the NPCs are going to have their own life that they live.
That's true.
And that's
the
funded
quanta
right now. They're
simulation
just
tech
walking from point A to point
from
B. At
Tony
the
Z.
moment.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
just having the habitations
that.
would be nice.
That too, yeah.
But I'm saying just right now as it is, like the worlds feel very busy. Like you go to ArcCorp and everyone, you know, even the mindless NPCs that we currently have that don't have the quanta, Tony Z's quanta simulation tech backing them, they still, you know, they're going about their business. They're still just walking around. It feels surface level busy, which gets the job done for now, until they can get that tech in.
But it'd also be nice to have, like when you're flying around in a planet that actually has atmosphere, to actually have like scattered outposts. I don't mean, you know, there's always one within sight, but just, you know how you fly away from Hurston, and unless you go to one of the designated, you know, landing sites, you're pretty much guaranteed you're not going to see another living thing or anything ever constructed by, you know, a human being. So it'd be nice to have those just kind of random outposts just kind of dotting the countryside that, you know, give you that sense that man has come out here and done some colonization.
Right, because remember they showed off those like sea shanty towns way back. This is like 2017, I believe, where it's like, you know, shipping containers and such, like makeshift turned into habitations.
Well, yeah, the original idea of the derelicts was going to be that some of those were now, you know, people's homes, which I thought was kind of cool. Of course, with salvaged.
In the chat, Joseph is saying, aliens go burr. No, we go burr when we kill the aliens.
No, we go burr.
But I think they're really nailing it with those colonial too, where it's like these older settlements.
Oh, yeah.
As you said, like where humanity has colonized these worlds. You know, it is an established universe. This is a lived-in world. Like, I love how it kind of reminds me of, you know, Halo 2 versus Halo 1. In Halo 2, where you go to Delta Halo and you see the ruins, the Forerunner ruins, and it's like made of rock, versus like the metallic ruins of first Halo. Like, okay, like just gives you that sense of, you know, age and older tech.
Yeah. Time.
Don't forget the grave
familiarity mine. Because it's, you know, rock and stone stuff that mankind is very familiar with. In the white box, the ruins are definitely really cool. I like how you can see, you know, the roots, trees, cracking and causing cracks in the floor. Yeah, that's the Inside Star Citizen this week, or that last week. We also, obviously, Alpha 317 is in Evocati right now. For anyone who doesn't know, Evocati is essentially NDA testing of the patch. Essentially, specific people that get invited to test, they test it before it goes into the PTU, which first wave of the PTU should be in about, what, 2 weeks from now?
Ish, depending how
Ish.
well it goes. Could be
Yeah.
shorter, could be longer.
It's usually around like 2 weeks after it initially goes into Evocati testing. And once Evocati testing's done, it goes to PTU. First, it's going to be 1 subscribers and concierge members, and then it'll go to everyone else after. And then eventually it'll go to live. But yeah, 317. New features, obviously the hospital, space station clinics variations. Initial implementation of RiverTech on Microtech. So Microtech is going to have rivers on it. Which should
A
be
river,
interesting.
starting out
Well,
of just
a
Oh,
river,
really? Only
yeah.
a river, right.
Yes, one singular river.
Which there's already guides to how to find it. Coffee shop vendors, so that you can essentially go to a Starbucks in space. Bucks.
Is it multiple? I thought it was just
Yeah,
gonna
it's
be one
only,
as
it's
Is
well.
it
only
only
Area
one?
18.
Area 18.
Yeah.
Okay. And mining
still.
gadgets. Mining gadgets is probably, at least to me, the best thing coming in 317.
I don't know if I'm a fan of those. The little added gadgets for
Well,
so
here's
you
the
can
thing. If a prospector could mine a normal rock no problem, then it would be great. The problem is, I feel like they're gonna rely on the mining gadget as, because right now a default prospector, right? You're renting a prospector. You're not really gonna be able to do anything.
Yeah, especially if you're renting, because they took away the ability to mod a rented vehicle at all. You have to have these.
And say you're not renting, say you actually own it, but you're just starting out. You're not gonna have the money to just buy a new mining laser head swap out. You're gonna have to work
Yeah, but
for
if these
it.
things
And
cost 5K, hey, I can swing one or two. You know, my buddy goes and gives me a couple bucks. Okay, I can buy one or two of these.
yeah. To me, it just seems like they're like it. How do I say this? What they should have done is corrected the values of the rocks or the values of the baseline mining ships to
Agreed.
adjust the gameplay, instead of creating a whole new line of Band-Aid that eventually is going to be a problem as well.
We don't know necessarily if that, you know, the way that is, because it would make sense, at least from a, you know, if we're looking at it from a holistic point of view. Hey, I've got a prospector, it's fully stock, fresh off the factory line here. It won't be able to go and crack every single rock out there. I gotta go, you know, and their whole thing is think before you act. I gotta go and plan this shit out.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, it does make sense that, okay, hey, I can go and put on components to adjust that. I can go and put on modules that I can go and use at certain points in mining. And I've got, you know, let's say if I can't do that, I'm renting or something. Okay, I can go and throw these handheld modules on there when I'm just starting off, or just to give me that extra boost. From a holistic point of view, it makes sense.
To me, that doesn't, though. Like, because now you're essentially telling players, you now not only do you need the ship, but now you also need another extra thing that you're going to have to go find and buy.
So that's
Well, if you want to do the best of the best rocks, yes. Just like if you're going on an FPS mission.
No. I think we're misunderstanding each other here.
You don't
I have
need
no
these to do
problem with
regular
the
rocks.
components. I don't have a problem with the components, in the sense of, like, the things that you actually add to the ship to do it. It's the handheld stuff that I'm not a fan of.
Why not?
Because to me, that's just a Band-Aid for what's not working with
Okay,
the
so
ships.
you're saying
You're
because
you're
right
assuming
now,
though that a prospector stock off the line here, because we're
No,
talking
I understand.
lowest grade here. We're acting. You're starting from the perspective that that prospector not able to go and crack that quantanium rock, which is again we're talking basic starting prospector without any mods on there versus top end of the line rock here. Well, of course it can't crack it. And like I said, it'd be like if I'm starting off going to do an FPS mission and I've got an arc light pistol and a flight
Cam,
suit
I
and
get
I'm
it.
expecting to
I
storm a
understand
castle.
what you're saying. That's not what I'm saying. Is your base take your argument and flip that around? Basically, everyone should be able to one-shot kill somebody then,
Depends on what you
right?
hit them with, but to some certain degree, yes.
No, what a person picking up a pistol without any extra mods and any extra things should be able to basically get a special bullet that they can load in, and they should be able to take
No, that
automatically
doesn't. From that
defeat the top
perspective, that
armor.
doesn't make any sense. It's all
Exactly.
about thinking before you act. I don't know where you're going. I think your analogy fell apart there a bit, but
Well, I also feel like you're kind of forcing your view of what my view actually is, and what I'm
I don't
trying to
agree
say.
that the prospector not able to crack that rock is an issue.
What I
That's
was
all I'm
trying
saying.
to. Let me know when you're done.
I'm done.
Okay.
well, I'm going to talk to that.
So-
then. Pretty much, the problem with is right now is the prospector can't really crack any good any money making rocks default the standalone stock.
Right.
And
I
if it
understand that.
if it could, then these little gadgets would be great because then it's like, okay, now you can crack rocks that are normally outside of the prospector's weight class if they work that way. However, I think the problem is that they're going to use these gadgets as kind of like a reliance on, like, to rely on for prospect. Like, okay, you have a stock prospector, you're going to need this gadget, just like you're going to need a different mining head, or you're going to need the consumables to actually get any decent mining done. Whereas you shouldn't need those to get some decent. They should just help you do it better or do it bigger.
All right, I'm gonna throw my 2
Yes,
cents in here.
That's
I think
that's exactly what I'm trying to agree with. Is that's what I meant by they're going to be a band-aid that we shouldn't have. I agree with what Mando's saying.
They should be an option, and they should be an option that helps improve your abilities, not something that you need to do your.
Exactly.
I think your assumption that a stock prospector should be able to crack the most valuable rock starting out is
No,
incorrect.
I disagree with that statement because that's not the expectation. In other words,
That's what
I'm
you're
not saying. No. Let me finish, Cam. God damn it. Let me finish a sentence before you jump down my throat. Okay.
How is it in Istro?
Because what you guys are saying is that we think it should be able to crack the biggest rock. That's not what I'm saying. We're at the point where the prospector can barely do basic level rocks with what as it comes out stock. I absolutely do not think that the prospector should be able to go out and crack the biggest quantanium rocks that are out there. I actually think it should have limitations. It should be extremely weak. That's the whole point of having your bigger sized ships that are specialized for those capabilities. What I think has happened is that they've gotten the numbers in the actual rocks, the behind the scenes numbers, to the point now where they're like, oh shit, in order to make the for us to have a difference, we basically pushed the prospector's capabilities below those numbers. So now we've created these gadgets that are the band-aid to allow the prospector to get back up there. And I'm saying, don't rely on those gadgets. Let's adjust the numbers in the rocks so that the prospector can still get out there, can still do some of it, but doesn't need those gadgets. Maybe those gadgets are what allow you to get up to that higher level of rock, you're paying for it because you're going and getting that gadget and adding it, to the process on top of you're already going to need all your top of the line mining laser attachments included on that prospector. So basically a fully, tweaked out prospector, and you get those extra gadgets. Then yes, maybe you can get a couple of those bigger quantanium rocks. Maybe it's still slower. Maybe there's still less yield than what you get if you're using a higher tier mining ship. That's what I'm getting at. Whereas right now, it seems like what they're going with is you're going to have to go get this little extra patch on top of all the things that you're doing to your mining, just to get the prospector to work at all. That's what I've been trying to argue about.
I mean, I've used the prospector recently, and I can mine pretty much any rock out there up to and including quantanium rocks, not the ones that are like 49% or something like that, but the lower end quantanium rocks, I can still go and mine those stock. I don't know what you've been running into that people are saying that they can't go and mine anything good.
That's from CIG. CIG specifically said the reason we're bringing these gadgets in is so that because people were saying they couldn't do it. That's my whole point, is like, that's where the problem
Well,
is.
just because people are saying
Idiots.
I can't go and, but bear in mind though, people will say I can't mine anything. What they mean is I've got a quantanium rock, which at least in current setup is the top tier mining.
Yeah.
I've got this quantanium rock and I can't mine it with my stock prospector. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Which is wrong. Yes. You should not be able to mine the top end rock with a stock prospector. And I think that's what people were complaining about, because I saw all kinds of Spectrum posts once quantanium rocks came out and there was some balance adjustments within a year or so, that people are going, hey, what the fuck? I can't go and mine quantanium rocks here without going and buying, what was the, I forgot
Helix.
what
Helix was the
without the Helix side. People are like, what the fuck? And then, and I think what really made it bad for CIG was when they made it that the rented prospectors can't be modded. Because at that point, now it's like, well, okay, I've rented a prospector to get into this mining thing, not paying real cash for it. But now I can't go and mine any of the good stuff because, well, shit, you need the upgraded heads. But again, coming from the idea that, well, hey, it kind of stinks, but at least with the, and I disagree with the idea that rented ships you shouldn't be able to modify. But I saw people complaining, hey, I've rented a prospector. Why the fuck can't I mine this quantanium rock? This is useless. Ignoring the fact that you have every other rock out there. You can go and mine with that thing, but no one wants to mine copper or gold or any of that shit. We want to mine quantanium because that's where the money's at. And that's what people were bitching about. And then CIG were like, okay, fine, here's a stopgap.
And that's exactly what I'm saying, is it's a stopgap. And I
don't
players
think that bitching about a intended component. I mean, it's the same thing if people were to be like, hey, I'm trying to storm the castle and all I've got is my knife and I keep fucking dying. Okay, fine. Here's a portable shield thing you can kind of hold, like a riot shield.
Exactly what I'm arguing about.
But that's not
what I'm saying.
Balance is supposed to be. Just because someone bitches about it doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means they suck.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. That was my whole argument. Is this is a Band-Aid? We don't need it. And you started jumping all over me.
We don't.
I don't see it as a Band-Aid.
Anyway.
I see it as just another option that you can use if you want it. You don't have to use it, but it's there if you want to. It's just like.
Well, what if I don't want it to be there?
Well, then don't.
And life for you is gonna suck, I'm afraid.
Hey, sometimes it blows. Yeah. Completely the opposite.
I see it as like the passive modules that you can buy right now. You don't have to have any of them. You can do everything that you want to do without them, but they make life a little bit easier. Or they can.
look, I should be able to overcharge my mining laser to be able to crack any rock, and it just runs the risk of completely exploding my ship if you bump it wrong. And then I'll bitch about that too.
Also, there's some things that are probably planned as far as mining goes, and in terms of like rocks and the size and stuff that we don't know about yet. Because I mean,
Correct.
the Orion is going to need something larger than the rocks that they have in game right now to function. Otherwise, there's no
Oh
point
yeah.
for it.
Oh yeah. I anticipate what we're seeing now is still on the low end of rocks. It's like right now, they've always talked about like, oh, get a couple prospectors out and mine some rocks together. And it's like, well, what's the fucking point? There's no need to do that. I can fully see there being, like if what we've got right now are like size 1 rocks, I could see size 2 and size 3, which are magnitudes larger to the point where you might have to use multiple moles even. And I could probably see us getting some mining ship that'll be between the mole and the Orion. So we'll see. But they're
I
probably not
still-
done yet.
I still want my dream of being hollow out giant asteroid with.
You might be waiting a while for that one.
Yeah, well, obviously. There's also 317 also is going to have the DNA head textures update for your character customization. Broader, more diverse customization options, which is good when, like 300 players?
And
From
then
all
I
over the world.
guarantee when it first gets released, we're all going to be stuck being the Indian guy again.
Again.
Remember when that happened for like an entire like half a patch or something?
Yeah, I think that was all of 315 for me.
I think it'll end up being like the ship names.
Oh god.
Oh no. So
You
we're
can
with, like, what
you
tiny
can have a
eyes?
unique look, but you're the only one who can have that unique look. And if someone else has the exact same numerical values for each slider that you have, well, you can't have it.
Pretty much.
Don't give them ideas.
Let's see. Also got separated low orbit stations and landing zones that have different inventories. We already talked about that. So like Lorville, you have a different inventory to Everest Harbor, which is the station above Lorville. We're getting ground vehicle signature emissions change, so that's good. Missions themselves still need reworking. Player injury polish pass. Hopefully that means like hot fixing the whole medical gameplay issue that currently plague us. Get it? Plague, medical. FPS weapon refactor. Added keybind option to request ATC landing. Finally.
Yeah.
Imagine being able to call ATC with a button, with a single button, instead of having to go into
It's
your
too
mobile
much
glass.
power for one man.
That's why they're giving it to all of you.
No.
Yeah, but the question is, will the button actually work?
It's not going to work like
Sorry, it's
50% of the time, at least. You're going to be it's going to be like an elevator where you're just going to press it constantly to get it to work.
Yeah.
Also, several major bug fixes and client to server fixes. Hopefully, something. But yeah, that's 317, at least as of right now with the Evocati builds.
Supposedly, we still have a hidden ship that's expected at any time, according to what we saw at last CitizenCon. There's still a bomber that they haven't released, because like all the ships that we've seen since then have been those different other ones that they said, hey, what do you guys think? Choose A, B, or C. So there's a bomber that's still missing.
What were they going to call it? I thought I heard there was a leaked name. But no, I know the one you're talking about. It was, and I want to say it was more meant to be like a smaller munitions, like more of a cluster bomber kind of thing.
To be honest,
not like a
don't
size
know.
9 torpedo. Yeah.
But supposedly that's still in the works, so we could see that drop at any one of these patches. I feel fairly confident that we probably won't get the vulture, or not the vulture. What is the other one? I can't think of it.
Vulcan.
No.
Bomber wise,
No, not bomber wise. They've been. We're gonna get the merchantman for
yeah.
sitcon. I think.
Possibly.
Wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's already March. Kind of freaky. Also,
Yeah,
Coolios
no.
had to go.
Hey, Coolio.
No.
Apparently, he didn't like my comment about the merchant.
No. He had
Yeah, how dare
some
you?
Personal things to do. His job, family, things that
What?
everyone has. Supposedly.
What's this real world you speak of?
Real, not wheel.
Wheelie.
Don't do it.
Oh, hey, Data Machine. Have you heard about the Crux Cup? You guys are there?
I'm there. Right?
Okay.
Yeah,
I just thought maybe I couldn't be heard. I like said that, and then there's just absolute dead silence.
I noticed. I thought he was going to respond, but I guess not.
Okie dokie.
Blame Canada.
Yeah, to me, the last few like this last month has just been absolutely dead quiet as far as
Yeah.
CIG goes.
We're also getting ship-to-ship
Yeah.
refueling with and selling items to shops. At least no, they're committed on the roadmap, but they're not in the current Evocati builds, but they are slated for 3.
Now on the
Ship-to-ship
refueling,
and
one thing that I noticed
Are they in
and
the
again
Evocati?
this was just one of the photos that was taken of it, but it was showing like that for 2 SU of cargo, that, and again this is just an example photograph, but 2 SU of fuel was 36,000 AUEC. I talked about this before, but there's going to be a bit of an issue no matter which way you adjust it here for people who are trying to go and refuel as a job tech. Because again, the intended point of it is that you should be able to go in and make money doing this. But for it to go and be worth your time to grab whatever ship you've got, fly out there with the fuel, okay, you found the stranded person, you have to go and charge them a decent amount because you're risking yourself, your crew, your fuel and cargo in your ship by going out there to go and rescue them when they're stranded here. So you got to charge a decent amount. On the flip side, if I'm the person who is stranded, let's say I'm running cargo here, and hey, my profit margin is 20K. Cool, great. I'll make 20K once I sell this a couple hundred SEU of cargo. Cool, great. Oh, I ran out of fuel. I done fucked up the calculations somehow. Something happened. Whatever. I'm out of fuel. I'm stranded. Well, shit. If fuel is going to cost me 36,000 here, there's no fucking point even selling this cargo. I'm already making a loss. Now, some people might just go for that anyway, but most people are going to look at that and go, "This is a losing combination. I ain't fucking doing it." The economy as it is does not support these kinds of extraneous payments like this that might happen. There needs to be a look at the entire economy to go, even things like, hey, if I'm running cargo, well, I need to hire escorts, right? There's pirates, there's dangerous people out there. Cool, profit margin doesn't support it. So,
Well, I
maybe
thought
this
they
stuff will
were
be
going to
adjusted.
allow you to set the price that you
You can.
sell your gas at.
You can, yes. But again, if I'm running my crew out there, let's even just say I've got a crew of 3 on a Starfare. Starfare should have a lot more. How much is each person making? Even at, let's say 2K per person, which, okay, it's not, it's enough to get me out of the bed here if I'm not risking anything, but that's still pretty damn low. But on the other person's side, that's 6K that they're paying out, 3K for each person. That's still a good chunk. And if I'm making 20K profit, hey, that's a pretty decent chunk.
I don't know. I think it's a moot problem. I think it'll work itself out. Either you're willing to pay for the fuel to get you home or you're not. And until we get full persistence where you're at until you get yourself somewhere else, then I don't think it's going to really be that big a deal.
Don't
True.
worry. Don't worry.
Also, I think
Quantum will
the
fix it.
other issue is the economy. Like none of this is going to matter until we've got an actual AI fed. Because remember, 9-to-1 rule, 9 NPCs to every one person, 9-to-1 rule in place. Then you have an economy. You've got trade lanes. Then you bring down prices. So
Yeah, true. Yeah, your mic also fucked up.
You went to a robot mode there for a second.
He was signaling all the other robots to kill all humans.
One question though, because they've said that, oh yeah, if you if you're somewhere, you're going to be there until you go somewhere else, right? On the flip side, if you log out, you're supposed to bed log. That's the whole point of having beds. Then what happens if you don't bed log?
I think bed logging won't be that big a deal anymore as soon as we get full persistence in. I mean, the whole reason it was there to begin with was that's so the server would save your position, but once full persistence comes in, then it's going to save it anyway. So I think bed logging will be. I don't think it'll be what it is now.
Well, I thought at least way back when, and again, this was years ago, so all of this could be subject to change. I thought they were talking about having something along the lines of if you bed log, your ship will be at approximately the same XYZ coordinates in space or on a planet or whatever that you were at, and off so it's like if you park outside of a cave, you've got your let's say you've got a 300 series or a constellation. You park outside of a cave, you're like, ooh, I want to explore that tomorrow. Cool. You crawl over into your bunk, you bed log, you log in the next day, you wake up, your ship is going to still be outside of the cave, and off you go on your happy exploration. If you did not have that, let's say you're in a Gladius, okay, I don't have a bed, I find a neat cave, cool, I'll explore that tomorrow. You log off, you log back in, and supposedly what they were talking about is in some way, shape, or fashion, you would have made your way after you logged out back to the nearest station or safe city or whatever else, and you would have to go back there. I thought at least way early on they were talking about something like that.
Well, that's the way
they
it worked
did,
before.
but I think that's outdated.
Yeah,
Okay, and that's entirely
they had
possible.
to plan for persistence.
Okay, and that's entirely possible. I would like to see them though in that case maybe make it so like if you bed log, so it's like, okay, you're always persistent. Whether you bed log or not, you're still going to be as close as you were to where you were before, which I do think is a good idea. I would like to see them getting some kind of buffs for like bed logging. Like if you bed log and it's been a certain amount of time, so you can't just like bed log, quit, relog in, hey, I've got buffs, but like if you bed log and it's been 4 real-time hours, you get some buffs to your person, i.e. you've got a full night's rest, maybe, like how we've got the drugs to where you get some buff there, maybe just a couple of little buffs that, hey,
What about doing it
I don't
reverse?
get as thirsty. Yeah, I don't get thirsty as fast. I don't get hungry as fast. Something like that.
When I do it reverse, so if you have the bed log, you come back in, you're normal. But if you don't have the bed log, then you wake up with a slight debuff because you didn't get the right kind of sleep. Like trying to sleep in your Gladius seat gives you, I'm just picking a number here, but a minus 10% to your like alertness level, or and you have slight dehydration or something like that.
Yeah, or something like that, or you'll take you'll dehydrate a bit faster because you didn't really get a good night's sleep, and you're kind of out of sorts.
I
Yeah.
think it's all up in the air, but what I
Hmm.
envision is that you'll have the option to log out wherever you are. You hit escape, and there's the option to log out. In which
Yeah.
case, your position will be saved, and then after their cooldown time, then you and whatever you're in ship-wise will be removed from the world because they've already said it's not going to be instantaneous that you get
Yeah.
removed from
Yeah.
active. And if you're not in a bed or you're not sleeping, then I mean maybe you start dehydrating and run out of food at a certain rate, or maybe you don't. But um,
But I
I
had to
don't.
go in deployment. I log in a year later and I'm a skeleton.
Yeah, I really think it'd be better gameplay wise just to you come back in where you were at with what you had.
Yeah, no, I do agree.
Yeah, I think that has to happen. It's just I kind of agree with what Cam's saying though. Maybe there is some slight benefits if you have the proper vehicle, the proper tools in place that somehow that benefits you in some way. Whether that's that, like he said, the buff or the opposite version, a debuff, because you slept in your Gladius, overnight kind of a thing.
Well, I mean, they have said that if you don't take care of yourself over time, then you get a debuff, so things are going to treat you differently. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
in that sense, it would make uh, like if you log off somewhere, whether you're in bed or not, and it's a week before you get back on, then a week's time went by, and the effect of not taking care of yourself builds up, whether you're on or off. So then you would have to go take care of yourself.
Now, I don't
Yeah.
necessarily like that, or there should be like a cap on how, like, if you're like, hey, I can only play, on the weekends here, for example, you're real busy with life and stuff. There should be a cap on, if there are over time you're accumulating these kinds of debuffs. It shouldn't be like, okay, I'm mostly okay right now, and then I log back in and I'm just fucked. And it's
Well,
like,
that's when
well,
you wake
and
up in the
all that's
hospital.
changed. Well, not to the point of death, but like you log back in, and the only thing you can do is wait for your death as opposed to playing the game. Like, there should be a cap if they were to do a buildup of effects.
That
in my
raises a
opinion.
lore question for me. If you go missing, and with regeneration tech, a thing, if you go missing and you're never found and you're presumed dead, and can they just regen you?
But
Yeah.
how do you define
But then-
missing in the game?
But then
Not found.
He
I'm
just
just
went
talking about
to a
like within
different
the lore.
system.
Like if a person goes missing,
No, but
no, just
But
lore
what do you-
wise.
what do you mean
Not gameplay
person
wise.
goes missing because I mean you as a player you always know where you are.
Right.
So how do you define going missing?
No,
The missile knows where it is.
I'm not talking about
It knows
as a
this.
player. I'm talking about just in general, like within the lore. If someone were to go missing, and they're never found, did they just get regenerated? But then say they do find the body, and it turns out they're still alive. Do they take them now?
Like if you remember, like for those of us who have played Mass Effect 2 and did what was it, Jacob Taylor's mission, to where, oh hey, the ship with his dad crashed, and they'd been sitting there for like 15 years or so, stranded on a planet. If someone were to get stranded in some way, now I believe that was already answered though, in that the system, because again, it really is just hand wavium for the respawn system. But they were saying there's some kind of quantum entanglement bullshit to where it won't let you make a copy if the original still exists. Like I read through the documents or the article they had written on the respawn system. I'm pretty darn sure that they had a couple lines in there saying that if the person is still alive, regardless of what shape they're in, but if they are still alive, you can't go and make a clone of them. Only once they die, once their brain activity has stopped, then you can go and make a clone of them and the system will work.
Okay, so your state is always known.
Yes, somehow. And again, it's some quantum entanglement bullshit kind of thing.
I mean,
But
it's hand wavy, but it's needed.
Yeah.
So that's
yeah,
the
and it's
answer.
like okay, we see what they're going for. Okay.
So much for an army of clones.
That being said, though, on the note of just how do you get lost? Someone hasn't checked in, because it's like one of the things with bounty hunting they were talking about is like, oh, you use your Moby Glass, you make a purchase with it, you call for ATC somewhere, that sends out traffic through the comm system, and hey, your location is known. So I would suppose that you could be lost if you haven't had any comm traffic for a while in game, whether because you're specifically avoiding using your Moby to not have your location be updated, you're trying to be off the grid here, or you're stuck in some fucking cave with 2 broken legs.
That
I'd
was
like to
fun.
see the ability to get lost. I think that'd be a good
Hell
thing.
yeah. I remember seeing way back when during one of the free fly events, I was just putzing about at Microtech in New Babbage in my Pisces, and some guy was like, "Help! I crashed my ship near the spaceport, and I'm stuck. Can someone come help me?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay, I can help you." I had on my my Novikov armor, so I'm all geared up for the snow here. Find the guy. He managed to flip his Avenger around, and the ramp was blocked, so it couldn't all the way open. So he was stuck in the back of it. I got over there. I'm like, here, try crawling out. He tries to crawl, and as soon as he got out of the ship, the physics grid switch, it just instantly killed him. I assume
Yeah.
because it was like, you're prone, but we want you to stand up, but you can't stand up. Oh, you're dead. But interesting.
Damn gravity.
Yeah, really.
Well, at least
Damn
yeah,
physics
it reminds me
groups.
of the other 316 just went live. That's like a month ago. Time's blend. But I
What
was
is time?
flying. I was flying through around Crusader, and I remember if I think I clipped out of the ship, and so I'm like, okay, great. I'm just EVA around Crusader, right? So I figured, okay, I'm going to be stuck here. Someone pick me up, but then something happened. Gravity is a cruel, cruel mistress, and it started pulling me realistically towards the gas giant to the point where I started falling through the clouds, and then just dropped, and then the pressure killed me.
What a shame.
I became a temporary satellite of Crusader.
Very temporary.
Good thing I didn't have any gear that I didn't care about at the time.
Really.
Your corpse is at the center of Crusader. Good luck getting it back.
Like I died the other day. I was doing one of the 890 jump rescue missions. So go through there, and as I'm in there, I hear a ship firing, and I'm like, ah, shit. So I had a freelancer with me. I was like, run back out there. I'm in my freelancer, and while I'm running back to the cockpit, kaboom! Ah, fuck. Okay. Thankfully, I still had a mission marker that's no longer disappearing though. So I fly back out there. I can see exactly where my freelancer was because like the turret guns were still like floating there, but my corpse is nowhere to be found. I'm just like, motherfucker.
Yeah. I had it where I was doing the 890 jump mission, and my corpse, every time I died, my corpse just. There was no
You know,
corpse.
Speaking of which,
Oh.
have they said anything about inventory system? Like next iteration when we'll
Nope.
get it?
I don't think
Aside
so.
from they're separating the landing zones and orbiting stations, no.
Yeah,
You're talking about
that's all
the
we're getting.
interface, like the UI, right?
Yeah, the UI.
Nope.
I don't think they've said anything about updates.
Okay. Yeah, I just
The
the
UI
few times
is
I've tried it,
horrible.
I'm just like, this system sucks.
It is horrible. For starters, the fact that you can't just loot all whenever you're.
Yeah, we definitely like what'd be really nice is to be able to go and have move all left to right, but also too, like we should be able to have like a checkbox for each one, so I can just go click, 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 transfer selected items, something like that.
How about have like 3 or maybe 4 presets loadouts
Yeah.
that you
Oh,
can
yeah.
configure, and you just go click on like, I need this preset, and it just grabs, as long as that item is in your inventory, it grabs it and puts it on your
into the
body.
preset.
If you don't, it takes whatever it can find of those presets that you created to make that.
Yes, absolutely.
Agreed, because this way you don't have to do undersuit, then the armor of each arm, leg, chest, and head.
5
and
minutes
helmet.
later, okay, I'm ready. Bam, motherfucker.
This way, just literally click once, reset goes onto your person. Problem solved.
Yep.
Yeah, it needs work. Someday.
So,
And that's
yeah.
it for the Star Citizen news this week. One other thing is, this week in Star Citizen, obviously, more post every Tuesday. Wednesday, they're doing Stella Fortuna, which is
St.
that's
Patrick's
the
Day,
St. Patty's Day, yeah.
which
uh,
essentially just means green skins for ships. Buy
Yep.
them now. Buy them now.
That's really it.
Though last year, if I remember right, for Stella Fortuna was also when they announced the Cyclone MT, right?
Yep.
So we might potentially, because I thought I remember there's supposed to be for those who haven't been keeping up with the leaks server at all, there is apparently a leak on a new single-person ground vehicle from Drake called the Drake Mule. We don't know anything else about it other than it's a single seater. It's from Drake. It's called the Mule. So
Oh man.
who knows? Maybe we'll see something.
So Cam, did you ever experience the mule in the army? Not the mascot. I mean the vehicle itself.
Oh no. I
Okay.
dealt more with Humvees
Are
and
you-
LMTVs.
Do you know what? Do you know the vehicle I'm talking about?
Is that the
Not
robotic
offhand. Was
dog-like
it the
thing?
fucking backhoe or?
No, it's literally a like 6 foot long by like 4 foot wide flatbed 4-wheel drive. Just imagine like a flatbed of a truck with 4 tires,
I know what he's talking about.
and it's
Oh, that sounds
like
terrible.
you bring it, you Google it. It was used. It was used during the. It was built back in the 50s, but it was used all the way up through the 80s in the Army
Oh yeah.
and the Marine Corps as like a 4-wheel drive ammunition carrier on like drop zones and helicopter inserts. And it's got like a little steering wheel that you can literally fold up, and like the guy sits on the front edge of the flatbed and just steers the thing. And it's got
like a little toy
basically
car
almost
for
like a
military.
lawnmower. Sorry? Say again,
It's
Mando?
like,
I
it's like
didn't
a
hear
toy
you.
car. It's a military toy car.
Yeah, but it's like a flatbed.
Yeah.
So you can just put anything you want on it. So like they would put ammunition, they'd put medical litters. They even mounted like a Carl Gustav anti-tank launcher to it. Like a 50 cal pintle on it.
I've seen
Like,
someone put
it's
a
just-
20mm cannon on it.
Yeah, that Carl Gustav. It's just that I've been wanting one of those in this game forever and ever. I remember sending the picture to somebody that was CIG related in like 2014. And I sent him a picture of this thing. I'm like, if you guys do it, please, dear God, build this. And never got a response for it. So that would be so awesome.
Well, that would. It'd be terrible, but it is Drake, so. Yeah.
Exactly.
The
Oh, God.
M2,
Yeah.
the M274 Mule. No.
Is that what its
Yeah.
designation is?
The M274
Yep,
mechanical mule.
that's it. That is it right there. Yeah, those things are awesome. We actually used to use them at one time when I was stationed in the California desert. We had one of these that was still running, and because when you're loaded out with all your parachute equipment, it's hard to like walk around. So we would actually use that vehicle to get from the hangar out to the actual aircraft, and you could fit, 6 to 8 of us just sitting on the sides of it. But anywho,
Yeah, it's a flatbed.
yeah,
It would be cool to see. Well, that's the thing. We need more ground vehicles in Star Citizen, but we also need more use for ground vehicles in Star Citizen. Another
Yes,
problem.
because right now we've got pretty much none.
well, we need utility vehicles
Agreed.
because like
I'm saying we
having
need both.
dune buggies is cool and all, but not everything is pew pew.
Right. Like, I'd love to see like a Banu hover truck. What's it gonna do? Well, it's a truck.
Yeah.
Like,
Just see a broken down Nomad with tires stuck on it. Cricket.
Nomad doesn't even touch the ground when it lands.
That's why I said broken down. Like it's not. Anyway,
That's the thing. Like, we need more. We need different types of ground vehicles, and we need more. And we also need use for them. So 3 different things.
well, I mean, you have a major use for them now, because then you could actually like carry your loot out of your bunkers, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you're not getting that ground vehicle down into.
No, but you get
Or
it to the
are
front
we?
door, and then you load it up, and then you drive it, out to your ship that's out beyond the turret's range. Then you load your ship.
Will the turrets fire on ground vehicles at the moment? Because I know sometimes they
No,
do. Sometimes
they don't.
They don't right now. Okay.
Unless they hover. If it's like a Nox or something, then
Okay.
they're counted as a ship. But
Sounds
wheeled
like
vehicles will not get attacked.
I
by the
wonder
turrets
if
right
the
now.
ground vehicle emission.
don't know.
Find out.
But yeah. Cool. Well, so a ground vehicle and a bomber. Surprise vehicles for this year.
Hopefully.
So I asked earlier, but apparently you stepped away, Data Machine. Have you heard of the Crux Cup?
Yeah, I'm in it. Actually, I will be racing in the Crux.
Ah, okay, cool. Yeah, I just heard about it a couple weeks ago. I was like, oh, that sounds like Data Machine.
Yeah,
Right down
looking
the
forward
alley.
to it. We had the qualifying last weekend, so it's going to
So
be interesting.
So what's different about the Crux Cup versus, say, like the Daymar Rally for people who are listening?
Daymar Rally is a ship race, Crux or a vehicle race. Specifically, I think it's any vehicle. I think they have an FPS running class too, which ugh. But anyway, Crux Cup is going to be racing through the platforms of Orson, and they've got, I think, 3 different classes. There's A Crux, which is the fastest people. There's Open Bracket, which I think anybody can join, and then there's another class for like the really big slow ships.
And which
So
are you?
I'm going to be racing A Crux class.
And it's best time, right?
Yeah, it's going to be an hour-long race. And after an hour, it's an hour plus 1 lap, and then whoever is at the front when that hour is complete will be considered the winner.
You should let us know when you're doing it. We can arrive in a Reliant Mako, the news van version, and watch the race, stream it.
Because there's probably going to be 30 or 40 people actually
Yeah, no,
racing.
they're
I'm not
probably gonna
sure
have
that
the
there's going
entire
to be enough
server.
room in the server for all the spectators,
Yeah.
but it will be streamed.
I mean, you're
For
probably gonna
security,
have,
that totally makes sense. You'd want to lock down the
yeah.
server so
I
that
mean,
you
you're
don't have
probably gonna have
idiots
50.
trying to ram a 890 through the race course.
Right.
Yeah, because there's going to be that one guy that wants to be a dumbass.
Yep.
We're gonna have like that
Cam,
one guy that has
you're awful quiet.
I'm nodding.
You have like that one guy with a retaliator just trying to nuke every shit.
Retaliator, I barely know her.
Oh, you do now.
Do I?
Cool beans. All right, guys. I think I'm gonna head out for the day.
Yeah, I think that's all the Star Citizen stuff we've had.
Well, hopefully something will happen so that next week we got something to talk about.
Hopefully.
Oh wait, there's more.
But there's one more thing for just $19.99. All right, guys. Have a good one.
For an extra $199, you can get this extra.
All right, see you later.
All right, see ya.
See ya.
Well, onto the non-gaming, onto the non-Star Citizen news. Which one do you want to do first? The Activision stuff, the EA stuff, or
Doesn't
Well,
matter. It's
there's
all
other- there's
shit.
it's either Battlefield 2042 nonsense. Right?
Oh boy.
Did you actually have the game?
No, I did not buy the game.
Okay.
Oh, thank goodness. We don't have to kill you.
Yeah,
you
I
that was-
played
you
the beta,
played the beta.
and I was, no thanks.
You were telling me about the beta. That it's like that game just wow. Like, and I thought
It's
Battlefield
performing
5
very
was
bad.
But I think we should none of us have it or have. You played the beta, but we haven't. None of us have played the finished game. If you call it that, the released game, not finished. They just added a scoreboard recently. Like, it's a mess. The game. Apparently now, Battlefield 4 has a higher player count.
Yep.
Not surprised. It's a better game by far.
It is.
There was an article that I was reading about it. Well, I didn't actually read the article. I just kind of skimmed it, and it kind of alluded to it was like, why is Battlefield 2142 so bad? And some of their one of their answers was that a lot of the devs, the executive devs that have worked on the Frostbite engine, a lot of the talent has since left the company and gone elsewhere. So
Hmm. Still.
I mean,
it makes a
that's
big
sort
difference
of-
if you have people that know the program and know how have worked on Battlefield projects for a long time and are experienced. And if they leave, that leaves a very big skill gap. And you can't teach people that kind of what am I trying to say? It takes
You
time
can't
for
easily
people.
go and
essentially
train someone
years
up to
worth
that level.
of
Right, exactly.
familiarity and skill with that engine. You can't teach for none time. No.
Right. There's an experience or a time frame for people to become experienced and effective with working with a certain tool. And if a lot of their talent, developer talent, left the company, then it makes sense to me why it's taking so long for them to come out with extras.
It's just that feels like that should be something that was planned for, and the fact that they didn't once again shows that both EA and DICE don't give a fuck about the product at all. They're just
Especially
in it
since
to try to
this-
turn out as much money as possible.
I mean, you say planned for, but we've talked about a lot how a publisher tells the gaming company, well, ready or not, this has got to go out the door, right? So whether a publisher realizes that there's a talent gap or not, or there's issues, it doesn't really matter as far as the gaming company is concerned, right? They do what they're told to do at the end of the day. So DICE could have known that there's a problem and we don't have the talent and blah blah blah, and EA could have been like, well, it doesn't matter. This is the timeline, and you get it out the door.
Yeah, but that's still EA setting unrealistic timelines, and we've seen that happen before. I mean, if I
From
remember
EA
right,
themselves,
with like Mass
remember,
Effect Andromeda,
and
like
Anthem
they
and
lost all
Battlefield
their data at the
5.
halfway point. They changed project leads several times over. They lost their animation data at like the 0.75 point, and all through EO was like, we don't care, we don't care, we don't care. This is the timeline, and it's like, if you aren't willing to adjust your expectations from real world data coming into your hypothetical model, you fucked up and you have no idea how to actually plan anything. Like that's basics right there.
And it's also this is the first time. Anthem, Mass Effect Andromeda, Battlefield 5, all of which have
Time and time
at least
again, and they've shown they're
with
not
Anthem
willing to learn from
specifically.
it.
At least I'm just based on what you find me from that article data. It sounds similar to the of that game, where, or rather for Mass Effect Andromeda, where it's, most of our main staff are working on Mass Effect Andromeda, on Anthem, but that's why Mass Effect Andromeda failed, right? And then we got Anthem, and you see that was just an excuse because maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I think that's a what if, but at least in the case of Anthem, I know they were making a third-person action shooter, a looter shooter, with the Frostbite engine, which is not really meant for as well.
Yeah, there's another thing they point out in the article.
But that was the
they say
publisher
pointed out, but they
forcing.
say it working with the Frostbite engine is not easy.
No, now I remember some Jason Schreier's expose on them, like how they were forced to use Frostbite engine. That go well, obviously. And then you
Anyway, at the end of the day, Battlefield 2142 is not doing well because it's not a good game.
No. And even the portal mode isn't. Like, if you want to play those old games, just play the old games.
I mean, it's sad because I was really hoping it would be decent, but yeah, after playing beta, I could tell that it was not going to be great.
No, that's how I got with. I remember because I played the Anthem beta, quote unquote beta, a week before it released. Free. It was like a timed beta, like you can only play it for like 5 hours or whatever. And I played it, and it turned out what I played was actually the full game minus 5 missions. Oh, okay. So glad that I wasn't enjoying the beta and just drop off for this product. I remember after playing Anthem during that beta, and I'm like, man, this got boring. I'm gonna play some Halo. Like I needed something good to play. I actually had the same experience when I played the Avengers, the Square Enix Avengers beta. I'm like, after this, like I need a good superhero game. Where I was telling you about this time, and I just started playing Wolverine, X-Men Origins Wolverine, because like that's a good superhero game. Where Avengers was not, and that's just a problem that we're across the board is unfinished, just games that don't have the quality that their names. You'd think that the names of the still right.
Yeah.
Like these brand names that have millions upon billions of dollars backing them, billion-dollar franchises that pump out games that are worse than games made by a single person and are. I think the problem is obviously the care, the passion, the corporatization of it.
Not that.
Yeah, that's what's wrong with Battlefield 2042. It's an empty, a horrible game. Unfinished. It's glitchy as hell. I mean, I'm using a screenshot of it in the thumbnail, and it's like this horrible, like no resolution. There's like it visually horrible. And I know a lot of people who are old school Battlefield players like us, where it's like they played Battlefield Bad Company 2 and 1942, and they look at this new game and it's very like cartoonish and bright, and that's not even like gameplay stuff wise. That's just the theme, the feel of the game. It's just not a good game on almost every level, especially a good Battlefield. Moving on different EA news. So you know how 2 years ago, EA and the Dutch courts were ruling against EA with loot boxes. Well, they overturned their ruling.
Oh boy.
So EA
So
apparently
loot boxes are once again a go?
Yeah, so apparently Dutch administrative jurisdiction division decided that EA had not broken the gambling laws with its use of loot boxes, specifically FIFA Ultimate Team.
Of course. So they got that good EA money, huh?
Probably. I mean, so this overturns a 2020 ruling that a ruling made in 2020 that fines EA 10 million euros. At the time, Netherlands District Court sided with the Netherlands Gambling Authority, which saying that this is gambling.
Like, yes, it is. If
saying
you're
in part
arguing
that
otherwise,
people
you're
could
fucking
profit.
bot.
They're saying that people could profit from FIFA Ultimate Team cards, but ignore the game itself while playing the Ultimate Team as its own title. Eurogamer's report went on to say that the new decision was based upon how the court saw player engagement with boxes within the title. The vast majority of packs are obtained by and used for game participation. Jesus Christ. The tradability of the packs on the black market is relative. The black market mainly focuses on trading complete accounts rather than individual packs or their contents. So technicality. They are not a game of chance and do not require a license, which I call bull. And
There was especially too where it's geared towards children using real money. Absolutely gambling.
Even if there wasn't gambling in it, it's a game geared towards children that involves real world.
Yep.
That alone should just not be the case.
Sad to see that they got bought out, but oh well. Not surprised, just disappointed, as with it all.
And in Activision news, so we talked about this a bit last week, not on the podcast, but so remember in the original court filing, there was a mention of a employee who committed suicide at a company party after her boss brought a butt plug and lube to the party.
Well,
and a year before that, at a different party, they were sharing nude pictures of her.
Yeah.
So the family of this employee is suing Activision Blizzard.
Yep. Do we have any new news on that? I know we addressed that before.
Well, we didn't talk about it on the podcast though.
I thought we did.
No.
Oh, okay.
Because last week we were talking about the Steam Deck stuff. Yeah, Activision Blizzard's in battle. Obviously they're dealing with the Department of Fair Employment and Housing lawsuit, which was in July. We covered that. There was that whole Cosby Suite court case. Obviously, there's new news regarding the investors and stuff, but this is specifically court the lawsuit going on from the family. So the court case was filed by parents of Carrie Monahan. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. A 32-year-old finance manager at Activision Blizzard when she was dead during the company retreat in 2017. Claims that sexual harassment was a significant factor leading to her death. Monahan was first referenced, though not by name, in the original lawsuit last July. Complaints allegations included that the holiday party before her death, male coworkers passed around a picture of her hoo-ha, referenced a male supervisor who allegedly brought a butt plug and lube, specifically referenced in court filing. Activision Blizzard last year called the Department of Fair Employment and Housing's lawsuit claims distorted and in many cases false, criticized the State Department for including mention of the suicide. We are sickened by the reprehensible conduct of the DFEH. To drag into the complaint the tragic suicide of an employee whose passing has no bearing whatsoever on this case and no regard for her grieving family.
But especially when it's the family suing the company
this was the response from last year, the initial response from the original court case in July, where they're like, no, it didn't happen, and then slowly but surely that became to it did happen.
Well,
it wasn't
it happened,
as bad
but it wasn't
as it was
us.
before, implying that it did happen and it was bad. And then it just straight up went to, no, it did happen, but we're fixing things. And that's just their mentality, because of course it's all PR speak, all Activision Blizzard, legal, whatever. The family's wrongful death lawsuit indicates it was filed in Los Angeles Superior Court by Paul and Janet Monahan. Claims that their daughter's boss, Greg I'm not even trying to pronounce it, initially lied to investigators in the Anaheim Police Department who were looking into her death in a hotel room at Disney's Grand Californian Hotel Spa, concealing that he had a sexual relationship with Monahan. Greg did not immediately respond to a message seeking comment. According to the complaint, he also made apparent efforts to hide evidence of his relationship following her death. Alleged police report cited in the complaint also noted that I'm going to call him he for now. Greg just Restituto, made seemingly unusual inquiries with other employees who were present with Carrie the night preceding her death. According to a LinkedIn profile, Greg worked as a senior finance director for Activision Blizzard until May 2017, the month after Monahan's death. Greg did not immediately respond to a request for comment on the suit. Parents Jeffrey Isaac, Adam Cardman, the parents' lawyers, provided a copy of the complaint but had no further comment. According to the lawsuit, Activision Blizzard then refused to turn over to police Monahan's company-issued laptop, said that her cell phone had been wiped, also refused to give them access to Greg's laptop or cell phone. So conveniently, all essentially tried to wipe her digital existence within the company.
Yep.
Wow. Anaheim doesn't
Now,
surprise
I
me,
will note, though,
but
that being said, is it potentially possible that suicide aside, this person is no longer an employee, go through offboarding steps, which now, I don't know why they would wipe the device, because especially if they're using like Microsoft Intune or something like that, for those who don't know, I work in IT, you specifically have an option just to remove company data from a device. And that's specifically like when someone leaves our company, we can go and just remove company data, leave everything else untouched. There is another option to go and specifically wipe everything from the device. The fact that, at least so it would sound in this, that they specifically wiped everything, pretty telling.
like in here, they refused to turn over her company-issued laptop, and they said that her phone was wiped. It was just wiped clean.
Like, yeah.
That's already kind of.
Oh yeah.
Like even.
I mean, it definitely sounds like they're hiding evidence.
Of course.
Which, no surprise.
No.
But
Disappointed.
As always.
Apparently, the Anaheim Police Department has refused to disclose reports concerning Monahan's death to the Post, to the Washington Post, or just to the local. I don't know. This says the Post. An autopsy report released by the Orange County Sheriff Coroner showed that Monahan's death was determined to be a suicide. An Activision Blizzard spokesperson declined to respond directly to the allegation lawsuit, instead saying in a statement that the company is deeply saddened by the tragic death of Ms. Who was a valued member of the employee. We will address the complaint through the legal process as appropriate, and out of respect for the family, we have no further comment at this time. The lawsuit by Monahan's family adds to the growing scandal over sexual harassment and discrimination that has enveloped Activision last year. We got the investors are suing them for not being informed of the situation. Obviously, there's the whole unionization thing going on with the Raven software QA guys. The SEC has an investigation going on. I can't remember if the EOC did anything. Yeah, it's
Either way, pretty bad shit.
They're being investigated by nearly every legal entity, and for good reason. Activision Blizzard is also currently under investigation by the U.S. Security and Exchange Commission. Yeah. According to the parents' lawsuit, a Massachusetts native and licensed certified public accountant had worked at Activision Blizzard since 2011. During a corporate retreat on early morning of April 27th, 2018, the suit Monahan spoke with Greg in the lobby of the Grand Californian. According to the suit, Greg then texted her, "Please don't do that, not tonight. Think about it and make a decision when it's clear." Monahan died in her hotel room roughly a half hour later, the suit claims. So there's text that implies something was not right.
Yup.
The suit refers to an ensuing cover up. Jesus Christ, I can't speak. By Greg and Activision. The complaint claims that Greg's hotel key card was found in Monahan's room, but when he was interviewed by detectives, he concealed the fact that he had been having a sexual relationship with her. Also lied about why he had a key to her apartment. It claims that Monahan's parents were unaware of the alleged sexual harassment of their daughter until the DFEH lawsuit last summer. That Activision Blizzard supervisors, including Greg, knew or should have known that she was being sexually harassed, but failed or refused to take immediate corrective action. The harassment to which Carrie was subjected was a substantial factor in causing harm to Carrie, tragically culminating in Carrie's death at the age of 32. Yeah, well, that's pretty much it. Now we have more information on this specific individual that was mentioned in the original court filing. It just shines a even dimmer light on, or a dirtier, I don't know how, whatever. It makes Activision Blizzard look worse, and for good reason. What they did was wrong. I mean, first off, even like say this Greg guy didn't know, like say he wasn't involved. No way he didn't know. And based on the text, he did know something.
Yeah.
The fact that stories like this are commonplace and they're only brought up like years later is pretty sickening. Not surprising, but sickening.
Unfortunately, and the problem is we've been hearing about this shit going on, where and you barely hear any of this shit because it gets covered up, and it's not surprising, and that's the worst part of it is that you have, I think we were talking about when we were talking about the main investigation and lawsuit going on, to where apparently there were like in jokes about like the Cosby room and shit, and it's like, what the fuck?
People knew what was going on, but they didn't say anything.
Exactly. Like, and it's like there's no fucking excuse. But yeah.
And further, Activision Blizzard. And that's the thing. Also, this isn't just Activision Blizzard. Ubisoft, Insomniac, Riot Games.
Yup. It's not just one company here.
I think Bungie even. It's widespread and unfortunately common within the, but you're only going to find out about it or at least find out about a specific company that's doing it when people finally start within that company or ex-employees or whatever it is. But the victims, people that knew the victims, and finally speak. And unfortunately, that takes a while because there's trauma involved. They probably don't want to talk about it. It's kind of,
Well, and also too, bear in mind, as we've seen in many cases, to where, because again, you're a person going up against a company.
right.
To maintain a lawsuit, you must have resources, and a company is always going to have more resources than the individual. This leads to an inherent issue with the justice system in that all they have to do is drag that on, and at the same time, I guarantee, hey, I'm such and such person, I'm suing my boss, either, it doesn't have to be the boss, but I'm suing a person and or the company itself for allowing this to go on. You're going to lose your job. Like one way or another, it's almost guaranteed that someone in that food chain is going to go and you should not expect to have a job at that point. And it's like, well, okay, well, shit, I can't talk about this. Okay, and because even if you don't, you might very well have a hostile work environment. Even just that, hey, let's say if I was assaulted at work, and now I'm suing the person who assaulted me. All of a sudden, all your coworkers, all the people you're seeing on a daily basis know this happened to you. This very personal, very traumatic thing happened to you. That alone is going to make things so much worse. So it's like I can see a lot of people going, I'm not even going to talk about it until and unless I'm at a completely different company.
Well, and it's not just that too. Say you're the first person to open, right? Like, and there's not like a whole movement like there is with Activision Blizzard, like where everyone knows and everyone
that
knows
there is now.
Yeah, like, and you're not like, say you're not, because here's the thing: it started with the California DFEH lawsuit, state legal entity, not just a person. If you're just a person doing it, not only are the company going to essentially just screw you over and fire you and everything like that, but they're going to make sure you can't get a job anywhere else in the industry, if not ever. That's the problem. Like, that's the same issue with all the the whole casting couch thing with way back when, right? Like, why do you think that the whole culture of the casting couch was, you do this thing, right? Do this favor to get the role, or you never work in ever or ever again, depending on.
And we've already seen shit like that happen in Hollywood too.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
For
casting
decades.
Couch. And that's the problem. It's just that you have entertainment, but like behind the scenes, the entertainment, like the people that are making it are horrible. Yeah, well, at least Activision Blizzard, at least some people are. I want to say they're getting their just desserts, but people that are actually responsible, like the company's taking a huge hit, yes, and it should. But the people that are responsible, like the individuals within the company that are responsible for these horrific atrocities to other individuals, they're fine. Like Bobby Kotick, right? The CEO, the overpaid CEO of Activision Blizzard. He's going to get away with all this scot-free. He's going to walk away from Activision Blizzard with a $15 million severance package once the Activision, Microsoft Activision. He's going to be fired, yes, but he's going to get money out of it, and he's not getting any legal repercussions. That is not right. But still, a trio of Activision Blizzard shareholders reportedly because essentially, this thing will just keep on giving, or rather going. I don't know. The whole Activision Blizzard scandal. It's like a month goes by, you're gonna have at least 3 new stories, and it's not just like, oh, XYZ happened. Like, no, a new entity is suing them. The whole unionization thing going on the last 3 months, whatever it was. I think it was like before. So apparently, 3 businessmen with links to Bobby Kotick bought $108 million worth of shares 4 days before the Microsoft acquisition. This one may not actually be involved in the scandal, but it's, you know, the whole Activision Blizzard thing, and the whole, they're being bought by Microsoft now. I know we talked about this when we initially covered that, but they're being bought by Microsoft. I fear is going to be, well, now they're not going to be held accountable. Now it's going to be, oh, we're just going to, you know, wipe it under the rug. Microsoft owns them now. They're going to fix things on the inside. But what about the damages that's already been done, and the people that have done those damages and, like, you know, they committed crimes? What's happening to them? Where's the justice, right? And this is why escapism is important, because the real world is fucking shit. But yeah, so apparently 3 businessmen, 3 shareholders are being investigated, according to the Wall Street Journal. They bought 4.12 million Activision shares on January 14th. It was just before the Microsoft, 4 days before Microsoft announced their acquisition of Activision Blizzard.
Jeez. Definitely seems like insider trading.
A little bit. Apparently, music industry mogul David Geffen is one of Diller's close friends, as previously worked together. Talent agency William Morris, and finally Diller, married to fashion designer Diane von Furstenberg, who is the mother of socialite Alexander. I feel like I'm reading like a bad soap opera.
The
situation is being investigated by the U.S. Justice Department, who is looking into whether any of the options, whether the options trades violated insider trading law. So yeah, it is insider trading, but that's pretty much it. It's just they're being investigated. They're just detailing like the connections that each of the 3 individuals have to Bobby Kotick and to others that might have indicate why it's insider trading. So just more shit to fuel the fire, right? It kind of reminds me of like when Fallout 76 first launched, and like for the next 2 years, it was just a dumpster fire with more new news constantly keeping that fire burning. Except in this case, this dumpster fire is a giant.
Yep. Not surprised. Disappointed.
No.
Not surprised.
And regarding more legality stuff, Bobby Kotick is exit Coca-Cola board of directors. I didn't even know he was director.
Now you know.
Now you know. The more you know, right? Yeah, now he's leaving. And that's the thing, like, he's leaving. He's not, like, again, no repercussions, no legal action being taken against him. This man tried to have his assistant killed, Bobby Kotick.
Jeez.
Last week, the gaming giant was sued by family employee. Okay, that. He's been on the board since 2020. Coca-Cola's board. It's just no justice, no karma, or whatever the hell you want to call it, right? As long as you're rich and powerful, you can get away with attempted murder, among other gruesome acts of crimes.
It would seem. It would seem.
You know, I would really like to get a hold of the actual court filing. The parents doing Activision. I doubt I will be able to do that live stream. We already know what's happening, so I don't think I read it here, but still interesting. Yeah, this is depressing. Not surprising, but depressing. I think that's all the news we have this week. Wait, no, wait.
Wait.
One other thing.
One more thing.
So, apparently a bunch of gaming companies are urging Texas to drop anti-trans directive. Essentially, entertainment corporations getting involved in local politics.
Yeah, not surprising.
Nothing new. But still
weird.
Yes. Well, it depends. Sometimes they're getting involved. Like, there are cases where a corporation gets involved and it's for a good reason and like a positive outcome. It's rare, but it does happen. Most of the time, it's so that they can influence, right, and get better. And like, for instance, Disney and Warner Brothers were trying to get. Who's the current governor of California?
I do not know offhand.
Oh, you're talking about Newsom?
Yes, thank you. They were at the time when someone was running against him, when they were going to get rid of him. Warner Brothers and Disney actually put money into, among other things, to keep Newsom, despite how he shut down the parks and money, obviously, enough for them to care. And even if it was enough for them to care, clearly there was probably some identity politic bullshit going on too.
Details.
And then, if you want to add like one last topic, I guess there's all that Russia stuff going on, right? Like every company and their mother essentially, we're not selling to Russia, we're not selling in Russia. Anything we make is not going to, like for instance, anything made outside of Russia will not be sold on Russian shelves. Which kind of sucks if you're just for your average Russian citizen who's probably avidly against what's going on, protesting in the streets, and then getting arrested.
Yup.
I think they're well within the thousands, going up to like 10,000 or so of people arrested.
I think they're above that now.
And how? Yeah,
as
last I checked was like Wednesday, so no idea. But it was insane. Like, because really, this is just one power fantasy of a mad, dated lunatic in charge of Russia. That's me being polite.
Russia is not and has never been an open, free society.
No.
Well,
my family, I should say, hard way. Grandfather escaped to Russia.
Who were from?
They did not like Jews then. They probably still don't like Jews.
Well, considering they're trying to call the Jewish president of Ukraine a Nazi.
Yes.
Well,
yeah.
It would seem they haven't changed much.
Nope.
Doesn't help too with all the bombing schools and hospitals and
obviously, like
convoys
that,
of civilians
like,
trying to escape.
Name calling is the least of of anyone's concerns right now.
Yeah.
Holy crap! Are you kidding me?
Yes, it's all a joke, and you were the punchline.
I knew it. No, apparently Gamescom is going to have a climate-friendly hybrid event this year.
Oh,
Oh
please.
boy.
Right? It's like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, you can't read that with a straight face. You just can't.
What about with a gay face? Can I read it with a gay face?
What about a bi face?
Consider it.
What about an alphabet face? I don't know, B, C, D, Q, T, whatever. Apparently, Gamescom will return to return this summer after 2 years running online-only event. The spread of wow.
Of
It's been
cooties?
2
What?
years and people are still freaking in fear of this thing.
Yep.
Well, the
We've
thing
all
of it
had it
is,
too.
you still have the politicians and the media hand in hand trying to keep this thing going as long
Yep.
as possible
Because it's a perfect means
it
of
gets
control.
ratings and it gets power and
Yeah.
money.
Essentially, it's essentially none of them were morons. They saw this opportunity of land in their lap essentially and go, hey, I can use this as a method of control over the populace.
Yep.
And now it's affecting everything, including art. How, yeah. And all three of us have had it, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And I don't think any of us had any. I think we'd all had what, like mild reactions at best. Or
I
at
mean,
worst,
mine
should say.
was pretty rough, but it wasn't life-threatening in any.
Let me put it this way:
Like mine
We've
was
all-
literally just
have
loss
we
of
all
sense of
been
taste
worse?
for 2 days.
I know.
That
I've
was
been
it.
worse. Have you been worse? Like you felt more sick and stuff from other things before.
I felt more sick yesterday when I apparently got some food poisoning than
Thank
I
you.
did from fucking
That was
COVID.
the answer.
Like in all seriousness, the
I know,
second
I know.
shot of the fucking vaccine hit
That
me
was
worse than COVID.
than actually having it. Yeah. I
Like
don't know
now,
about that because I didn't. I didn't have it,
and
but-
as always in these days, because you're always going to have people who want to spin everything out of context and try to put words in your mouth, among other things.
Hmm.
This isn't to go and downplay the fact that yes, it has killed people. Yes, it has been deadly and has affected people very badly. However, the majority of people, I believe we're talking in the 99% plus category here, are perfectly fine. Do
Plus,
not have
we
any
should-
long-term side effects
I
from
also
it.
want to note that the flu can kill too. Common cold can kill. Anything can kill you if you're not treating yourself correctly, or if you have a, pre-existing condition, or like there are too many variables, right? For instance, I know, what's his face? My next door neighbor. When he had COVID during the first wave, 2020, early 2020. And he has diabetes. He's obese. He had it pretty bad, but he's still fine. Like, yeah, he had it bad, but he was not hospitalized. He had no He was pretty much he was done. Like he was bedridden for like a week. That was it. He wasn't dying. And he was the real, I guess, no, I shouldn't say the real, but he was a at-risk group, or he was under one of the for this. Anyway, moving on, the whole Gamescom thing. What the hell is a hybrid event? So there's gonna be online attendees. Shows organizers announced this year's event will be a hybrid, continuing to cater to those who cannot physically attend. A range of online broadcasting activities held in the same place as usual. Wednesday, August 24th to Sunday, August 28th. So for anyone that cares about Gamescom, schedule. with assurances that hygiene and safety procedures at the venue has been using for more recent events in place. Additional measures include digital queue management, limited ticket allotments, and wide aisles. Yes, for the
I'm
for the
curious, where's
social
this being held this
distancing.
year?
You know what I love? Like someone just picked an arbitrary number, 6 feet, right? Like, you know, if I
Where's it being
cough,
held?
I cough. That cough, right? All, you know, whatever's coming out of me from that cough, it's going like 17 feet or more.
Or
At
like
least.
a sneeze. Yeah, you're going. That's like 12 feet average, if I remember the math on it.
It's like that's like 6 feet my ass. Like, yeah, if you're going, 6 feet under, I guess. Let's see. Online attendees focus will be on Gamescom's Now website. Gamescom Now website, including the return of the interactive quests, online activities that unlock rewards. I'm pretty sure I skipped Gamescom last. Normally they have some cool stuff. Star Citizen used to be at Gamescom way back when. But when you really have no games that you're looking forward to or like in seeing anything of, why watch any of these events? Sometimes they announce new games, but I mean, when was the last time they announced a good game? And even if they announced a good game, do you
Well, good
trust
games are
anyone
announced all the time.
No, here's the thing. Do you
They
trust
just aren't
anyone
good when they
nowadays to
release.
release a game that's finished on launch, that's actually playable, that's fun, and that isn't worse than a game that came out 10 years ago?
That's the fucking question, huh?
I mean, like, honestly, like
You're asking for too much, Mando.
You mean,
Yeah, how
I'm
dare
asking.
you.
You're right. I'm asking for what was and hasn't been improved on since then. I'm asking for stagnation instead of whatever the fuck we're getting right now. Instead of declination of quality and of everything else. Because at least with stagnation, you're getting more, the same things, but at least the same things that we would have been getting are still good, right? I mean, you look at a game from like 2013, I'll say, right? They were still chock full of content. They were still pretty fun. They were still, obviously they're not going to look as good as games today, but that's really the only improvement that gaming has made is visuals and performance, right? At 60 FPS and 120 FPS or whatever the hell it is, 4K resolution, graphical fidelity. That in some cases they're trying to go for photorealism or whatever. That's all good and fun, but if your game is nothing more than just a classic Doom clone, and I mean like Doom 1993 Doom clone, then what the hell?
One of my theories as to why Battlefield 2142 looks so bad compared to other Battlefield games is, in my opinion, because of how big the game is already. They didn't have the budget in terms of storage media for textures that were high res, especially for consoles. Because I mean, can you imagine how big that game would be if they had 4K textures?
I mean, I
I
don't
mean, to
know.
me, and I can only speak for myself, especially about this, because I know a lot of people love their graphics. But to me, I don't care if I had a PlayStation 2 graphic. The game had like PlayStation 2 level graphics. I don't care because I still play PlayStation 2 games on my PlayStation. I just want the game to have more game, not more, the visual stuff. The visuals are important, but the game is more important. Like the story is more important than the visuals. Because the story can carry the visuals if need be, and obviously, like take the original Half-Life, right? And then you had the Crowbar Collective remade Half-Life with Black Mesa, and they did a fan-fucking-tastic job. Like that's a game where, oh yeah, it was, even then, back then it was a pretty visually impressive game. But you look at at Black Mesa, and go, holy crap, this is essentially what you imagined the game being when you initially played it the first time, except now it's been realized. I mean, what they did to Zen in that game was incredible.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it just like you, and the thing is, like, that's a remake and a faithful remake, not like what was it, Resident Evil 3, where it's just a Resident Evil 2 remake DLC. And that's another problem too, is that everyone's focusing around remakes and remasters, and there's money in it. Obviously, that's why everyone's doing it. But the problem is that there's a huge market, a successful market for it, because people are buying these remakes because they want games like those old games. Because the new
people
games
can't build
suck.
good shit anymore.
Yeah, like, you want a remake because this old game, like this old Splinter Cell game, like the first Splinter Cell has more than probably a modern Ubisoft game does. Like, more to do, more. Let me put it this way: I currently have got Assassin's Creed Syndicate for free way back Xbox Live when I still had that. And my brother had Origins, the newer Assassin's Creed Origins. I played it. I could not finish it. However, I play Assassin's Creed Revelations annually.
And what was revealed to you in your revelations?
Nothing is true. Everything.
Well,
Everything's
there's a lot of
permitted. Sorry,
nostalgia.
everything's permitted.
There's a lot of
Hang
nostalgia
him.
related to remakes
Oh,
too,
there's-
right? That's part of the selling point of them.
That, yeah, obviously, but I mean, there's also the whole, like, depending on if it's a remaster, it's usually because it's that old game, but now with a new coat of paint. Now it's like, oh, you can play this game that you enjoyed, but now it looks better, right? Like Halo 2 Anniversary. But with remakes, you're remaking the game. Like, I think they're doing a Dead Space remake, right? Or a reboot or sequel or something.
Yeah, something with Dead Space. I'm not sure what it is, but yeah.
I'm not sure what it is either, and I don't have high hopes for it. And honestly, until you mentioned nostalgia, I completely forgot it existed. So, yeah. I know they're also doing they're doing a bunch of BioWare remakes as well, like remakes of old BioWare games, Kodar and everything.
Well, you got Ninja the Republic. You have the Mass Effect remaster, which,
Yeah,
admittedly though, that was a remaster. Even
Yeah, that
still,
was
they
a
sold it for, what was it,
remaster.
$30-$45? I forgot.
Wasn't it just $60, but for all 3 games?
Yeah, I think something like that, or it might have been like 45. But either way, and it's still now.
I'm gonna check Steam while you're talking.
Yeah, it's just it does definitely feel like they are unwilling, and it's not even that there's no more good ideas. There's plenty of good ideas to go around. Fans have them all the time. The developers have them all the time, but it just seems that they at least the large game companies here are no longer willing to go and take risks, or at least take good risks. Like, you always have shit where it's like, hey, we're going and we're making these changes that no one really asked for because someone made an angry Twitter rant about it. Whereas we're going to ignore all the stuff our own fans have been talking about and making posts about. We'll ignore that shit, but we'll go and fix the stuff that is currently in vogue. Like how you had all the shit about Rowling when she was going after the Harry Potter books and going like, oh, by the way, this character was gay, this character was binary, this character is trans, and people are like, like, it's great that you're trying to be inclusionary. However, trying to go and retcon this shit after the fact when nothing else supports it, just to kind of go, it kind of just looks like you're trying to go and get those good boy or good girl social points here, going, look at me, I'm special, just like everyone else. And it's like, there's nothing supporting this. It seems like you're kind of just jumping on the bandwagon here, expecting people to applaud you. And there was some backlash in the fan base, if I remember right, about that kind of shit.
Yeah, I think so.
And it's like it seems like it's if we'll do stuff that our fans don't care about, people who aren't our fans are yelling about, so we'll do that to try to give ourselves a good picture and be like, we're great, look at what we did, while our fans are like, what the fuck, none of us asked for this, here's the stuff we have wanted, and you guys are ignoring that, wasting time on doing this shit. Like, come on, guys. That seems to be the modern gaming company.
Yeah, well, it's the virtue signaling and the checkboxing, and
Welcome to the
and that's
modern
just one
world.
problem. Then you have the problem of like, okay, even when things aren't politically correct or whatever the hell they want to call it these days, right? You know, even when they're not, when that isn't the issue, is usually just the quality of the writing, or just everything. The quality. Right?
What writing?
Exactly. It's like a recent example that we liked on, Halo Infinite. Look at Halo Infinite compared to Halo 1, 2, 3, ODST, Reach. even 4, it was better. I mean, look, gameplay wise, because I played Halo Infinite's gameplay, and it is fun to play. Something feels off? Like, it feels very floaty. Even for Halo, it feels very floaty. But it is fun. It's better, more Halo than Halo 4 or Halo 5's gameplay, certainly. But everything else isn't. And I think that's just the problem. It's like, yeah, and as you said, it's not like there are no more ideas. There's always going to be new ideas. I know a few, on one podcast episode, with our chat, we came up with an idea for a horror game. That was kind of like, in vein of Alien Isolation. But it's like, okay, you're on a station with a bunch of robots or whatever, and they're like, you can do so much. You can even take variations on existing ideas. Fun with that, right? I mean, hell, look at, or you can just do straight up like knockoff stuff and successful that way. I mean, look at the Orville. It's not Star Trek.
But it is.
Just disappointing to see. You're looking at, games, movies, whatever it is. You're looking at it from, say, okay, look at a game from 2012, right? Now look at a game from 2022. Or, let's look at a game from 2011, 2021, because the whole year go through. I don't think it's a contest. And hell, if you really want to get a losing contest for more modern games, take anything from 2010 or before. I mean, like, you want to take I'm willing to compare, Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions to the PS4 Spider-Man game, right? Like the Insomniac Sony exclusive ones. Yes, they get web swinging right. Congratulations. Everything else isn't. and I've played both games, and I can tell you that there is no wall crawling in Spider-Man. If you try to crawl up the side of a building, you're going to get caught on the geometry of the building because they did not really think about that. Because they probably put all the time into the web swinging. And it shows, and it's great. But at the same time, other aspects of the game suffer for it. But anyway, we're just kind of aimlessly ranting on crap. So I think that's it. Hey, it's March. Isn't there a free fly going on soon with the Invictus Week? for Star Citizen?
When the hell is Invictus again?
Usually in March, no?
I don't remember offhand. I blame Canada.
Cool, yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, I guess whenever we hear when Invictus is, talk about it here. There's usually always a free fly accompanying Invictus Fleet Week, so it means all you need is an account and you can play the game for free. Remember last year's Invictus, the tank just came out. We had some fun times.
Oh yeah.
You think we're gonna get anything new with this year's Invictus or not?
We might get the like I said, we might get the Drake mule.
The mule.
So
When do you-
yeah,
when do you think,
there is going to be a free fly. I don't know when it's going to be or when Invictus is, but I wouldn't be surprised if they debut some kind of new vehicle. It would make sense.
Here's hoping.
Now, whether that vehicle is going to be worth anything in game or it's just going to be something like another Rock DS, who knows?
Or a hover quad. Freaking hover quad. Looks nice, but that's all it's good for. It's essentially, that was such a, really?
Nope.
Although I will say I have played around with the hover bikes since the rework of how they work in game, and they're really fun. Old school fun again.
I
They're
They
better.
definitely
I
need
still have
some-
some problems with them, but
Yeah,
yeah,
they
they're
still
definitely
need some work, but I mean, like I haven't had that much fun riding around on the bikes. No,
Wait,
I'm talking a
wait,
few
hold
years.
on. Wait a minute. You're not allowed to have fun.
Wait.
No.
Obviously, Inside Star Citizen this Thursday, and we're getting a roadmap update on Wednesday. Roadmap update and a roadmap roundup. When we'll ever see the roadmap actually get planned out for this? If
Never.
ever.
You got nothing.
All the static server meshing and Pyro supposedly coming out this year.
Yeah, we'll see. I've heard that one before.
I mean, I remember people saying that was going to come out late last year, so. Although they did, in their server meshing Q&A, they did say they're planning for this. For Q3 or... Yeah, I mean, it's Star Citizen. It's probably going to get delayed. If it can get delayed, it will get delayed.
Those aliens.
Murphy's Law.
I think you mean Chris's law.
Chris's Law. Robert's Law. Robert's Law.
Yes.
Can get delayed, it will get delayed.
No. But everything can be delayed. No. But yeah.
Do you think they're going to do any event? Like any Xeno thread or Jumptown style of a new event this year? Because we have 3 so far. That they were all made last year. As long of a year as it was. Xeno threat came out last year. You think we'll get any new ones this year?
Maybe.
Seems like they've the infrastructure they need to make them more quickly is starting to come online. So yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Just more.
I mean,
We need more. Always more.
Here's the thing. I think they can definitely make more events. Just what are they going to?
Well, yeah. There's going to be more. Just I would love to see, and I don't know if stuff will be in place here for it, but I want to go and see a event like we were talking about before, where it would essentially be a ground vehicle event. So it's like there's
Going to a
some unique
cave.
cave, you got to drive in there with your Nova tanks and your cyclones and everything, and let's say there's like, okay, there's some areas where you can fly a ship in, but there's all kinds of like AA defenses or in placed weapons that'll fuck you up, and so you got to go in with smaller vehicles, smaller teams, eliminate the heavy defenses. Then you can start bringing ships in, like something like that, where it would essentially force the use of ground vehicles. Because as it is right now, we have 0.0 use for them in any kind of gameplay. There's no
Yeah.
need for them. We need something to focus on those, and I think an event, especially something like, let's say for example, or let's say if you had an event, there's a cave, there's enemies in the cave, or enemies attacking somewhere, and you have to use the ground vehicles to transport the cargo in and out of that cave back to the ships, stuff like that. Hey, suddenly those Ursa rovers have a fucking point. Suddenly your cyclones that have the open back have a point.
That cave will need multiple entrances.
Oh yeah. But it's like something that would focus on ground vehicles for an event would give us some sorely needed content for those that we don't have right now.
Yeah, and they already have the caves, cave tech obviously. But like even caves for ground vehicles, I think Microtech has one, Daymar has one. I want to say Hurston has one, like a cave that you can drive into.
Yeah, I think there's like one on each of the main planets, but there's no fucking reason to do it. It's like, yes, it's there, and that's cool, and it was cool the first 3 or 4 times you did it, but now it's like, what's the fucking point? There's nothing there to do. There's no reason.
With the drive-in caves, yeah, there's just like it's there for you're going into a drive-in cave. That's like at least with the ship caves, there's multiple levels that require obviously a ship to get to, and you can go mining.
Yeah.
Even like really, that's the only thing you're going to keep for, unless you have those FPS bounty missions. Go to the FPS caves that are only that you can only enter.
But yeah, besides that, so hopefully we'll get it. But until we do,
yeah, and what would
ground
be cool
vehicles
is if you
use
have
those.
caves where you can
Although
enter
I will say the changes they're making to them, that ground vehicles are now much stealthier compared to ships, I think is a very, very good thing. 'Cause, I've always been thinking about like, I got my stealthed out Pisces, park it a ways away from where I want to go, pull my Ranger out of there, because again, at that point it's a wheeled vehicle and not even a hover vehicle. So at that point, like it should practically be stealthy unless you're sitting on top of it. So make it
have
nice
they done
stealthy.
that? I haven't really.
They
Have they come out and
have in the
said?
patch notes for
Ah.
3.17 that ground vehicles. So I think the ballista was going to stay about where it's already at, simply because they wanted it that the detection range in some way mirrors their threat to a
Right.
ship. So the ballista was like, okay, it's a pretty decent threat to a ship, so ships are going to be able to detect it about the same as is. With the Nova tank, somewhat similarly, and especially if it fires, it's going to go and flare up on sensors because obviously you have a whole lot of energy discharge. But they were saying things like the Nomad should be practically stealthy unless you're sitting on top of it. There's pretty much nothing except the engines giving off any kind of an energy signature, and they're so small. It'd be hard to pick that up out of background, radiation scatter. So
Yeah.
But that'll be nice, but we still need a fucking reason to use ground vehicles in the first place. So hopefully we'll get that soon, but who knows?
So I would kind of argue with the fact that the ballista is a decent threat. I don't think it is, but I understand.
It depends on what kind of a situation. Like against an A2, no, not at all. But if someone's just coming into like if you had a jump town without VA2, so you're just coming in going, what's over here, and you're unaware, yeah, they can be they could go and KO you.
Can
It
they?
also
But-
depends. Like those
Yes.
things are not.
Yes, they
gonna
can.
take out-
They got size 5s.
I know they do, but I mean, one flare and you have 40.
It all depends the balancing, and that's how CIG sees it. How it'll actually play out, who knows?
Well, that's why
Yeah,
we need to do more
That,
testing.
that's my biggest problem with the ballista right now is that, I mean, one flare will block any size missile from doing any damage to you.
Well, I mean, I'll know when I've been doing like the 890 rescue mission, and I've typically been going in like a freelancer. I'll have those cutlasses go and start firing missiles at me, and I'll dump off some chaff, and and I've got 40 or so of it.
Yeah.
I'll dump one, and that missile still tracks me. I usually have to dump like 3 or 4 for it to actually
I've
go
had
and
that
lose
issue
me.
too. I think it
So
depends.
now again, that's one specific scenario, but that's what I've been seeing.
I've had it also where I just have to drop one and literally watch the missile just go for it in front of me. Go for the chaff
Yeah.
instead of me.
So
I think
who
it
knows?
depends
They're
on
always
when you're
balancing this
dropping
shit.
it and how far away you are. But that's just from. It may not be, but I think it's like when you're dropping it, how far away are you from the missile? And
Yeah, there's a lot of
launching the
factors that
missile.
go into it.
Yeah.
And it should be that way.
Yep. But yeah, we'll see.
So hopefully, the ballista, you're probably firing at someone before they see you.
Yeah, that'd be ideal.
This way, you're not. They're gonna get a missile warning anyways. It just depends on how late. But even so, like they can like spam chaff and that they drop like 10 chaff. That probably not point.
Probably
If
not.
it does, it's not gonna take them down. It'll damage them, but it won't. Like the missile will hit like the edge of the ship,
Well,
like on the wing.
The missile will take them down because the missile knows where it is.
Yeah.
It knows this.
The missile knows where it
knows
is because
where
it
it
knows
is.
where it isn't. And
Yeah, I think that's it.
yeah, I'm gonna play the Big Benny's on the way out,
Oh God.
just so that people who don't know what we're talking about can learn. Yeah, this would be episode 59 of Cast in the Shadows, and next episode, same time next week, right? Same time next week. Monday,
Theoretically, yes.
7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Same bat time, same bat channel.